Welcome back in to the final week of the NECC regular season. Challengers Atlantic, two teams at the top, Assumption and JWU Blue, and two casters at the top, Fish and Sofchan, bringing you all of the action. Sofchan game one, we saw Assumption really after one bad first blood kind of run through JWU. It felt like they had every single answer. What are you looking for Assumption in this game two to secure the series and secure a win in their final game of the regular season?
Well, from Assumption, I want them to keep doing what they're doing. It was doing so well. They had map awareness, they had objective priority, they had good rotations, and at the end of the day, they just knew how to read the enemy better. Whereas on the side of JWU Blue, it felt like they were trying to be more proactive instead of being more adaptable. So I think that maybe for them, I would expect to try to react more than just act. And for Assumption, just keep doing what you were doing. It was working fine.
Yeah, I'm totally with you. I think Assumption played fantastic. I thought JWU's start was great, right? They got that early first blood. It was looking very promising. And then they just kind of kept being aggressive, and we'll have to see if that changes here. As we see, the bans for Assumption going to be the exact same. We have seen that Ivern actually was Scalesy's main pick, so that would explain why that has been banned away. Meanwhile, the Vi and the Zyra both eating some bans there from JWU. They don't want to face those again as we get Nard Jax in the top lane. Totally new matchup for this top side of the map.
Totally new matchup. And Scalzi is going to lock in that Sejuani and IC3P with the Maokai. Mid lane is going to be Sergeant Diddle. Something you mentioned, Fish, is their main. Vel'Koz is going to be on the hands of a very experienced player with that champion, and its rewind time, as we would have predicted earlier, is going to be Echo, and it's going to be a match of giants in the mid lane.
Yeah, I know you're excited for the finally fitting rewind time on Echo. Again, we talked about this in the break after we kind of took the sneak peek at the draft. This will be two guys on mains, right? You don't see that a lot in collegiate. Usually your main's banned away, or your main doesn't fit the meta or fit how you play in solo queue versus how you play a team. So I'm being very excited for this mid lane matchup, but I thought both of them played very, very strong. The Tristana run back, and I believe this will be the Xayah run back. This is the one criticism I'd have of JWU. They lost, so they get to pick sides. They gave up first pick by picking red side and didn't ban the Xayah, who dominated them in game one. Very curious as to why they let that go through for Game Force, but maybe they feel like Lalo Day can simply win the matchup this time.
Yeah, they're very trusting of Lalo Day and Delo in the bot lane because, as you said, they preferred to give in the first pick priority with the red side. They gave Xayah because they didn't ban it, and they decided to go for the Rakan deny alongside the Tristana in the bot lane. So maybe they're just confident that they can do much better this time around with this bot lane, with the pressure from Sejuani and its rewind time being that main player that they are on Echo, to just be able to roam more and get some nice ganks out of it.
Yeah, I think rewind time being more comfortable is going to be massive. I'm curious how this Sejuani will go. Kind of a very safe jungler. The one thing I do worry about is, as you pointed out as we were watching the draft, yes, they got the Tristana. Yes, they took the Rakan to JWU, but they gave up that Thresh. And I will say, Delo was very strong on that Thresh. Absolutely dominant. Landed a ton of death sentences. Kind of was the reason why Lalo Day was so even in the mid lane. So I am a little concerned that if that Rakan cannot apply the same pressure, Lalo Day is not going to be as far ahead early in the game as he was in game number one, and that could kind of really cause things to kind of snowball against JWU.
That is very true. At the same time, you wouldn't leave Xayah on the board if you weren't confident with the bot lane you were going to bring to the table. So maybe they just very much trust the Rakan, and they're going to do even better on that bot lane with it. And maybe we're going to see Lalo Day being a little less aggressive. You don't have to be passive as Tristana, that's not what we ask. But try to have a little more map awareness in general. If your teammates don't know where the jungler is, don't just try to 1v1 and jump on your enemy's head. Because it's very likely that one C3P, the ICC C3P, is going to be close, that you're going to have a jungler sneaking around. So be sure to have that vision, be sure to communicate with your teammates and know exactly where your opponents are. So then you're just like, okay, now I can jump on the Xayah. And in the beginning of the game, it's most likely that you're going to take the kills. But the problem was exactly as you said, Fish. Once Xayah hit that level 2 item power spike, excuse me, it was just near impossible for Tristana to take her down.
Yeah, I think the toning back the aggression, you said it perfectly, right? And not just the location, but I mean, there are a couple times down a level, jumps in on the Xayah, misses the kill by, well, maybe 5-10%, but just little things like that. As you said, though, I think jumping in early going to be very key. I think Lalo Day needs to get ahead. Again, feels very confident. We talked about this at the start of the show. We have not found an AD carry in our games, at least, that has consistently matched what this Xayah can do once those item reworks went through for the AD carries. We'll see if this will be the game for the Tristana. I think the big question mark for me is just going to be how this top lane goes, right? We talked about mid. It's going to be a battle of the Titans. 2 guys on their best champions. I think that'll be almost just a dead wash. But last time we saw that set dominating the Malphite, but you kind of expect that. Malphite's a tank. Now that you've got that Jax-Gnar matchup, of course, the Gnar has the range, but I'm really interested to see how more 2 bruisey top laners go between Kozan and Ho-Ho, because both of them had very good plays throughout game number 1.
I totally agree, Fish. I think that this time around, having the Maokai, having the Gnar, having the Jax is going to be super competitive. I think in regards to Assumption, they're going to have that little upper hand because Gnar can be ranged, and I think with the help of Maokai they can do quite a lot, as well as Jax with the help of Sejuani. She can just pin people down super easily with her freeze abilities, so that can help quite a lot. And I think it might be able to do more than the Echo was able to do in the first match. But again, we talked about it, Fish. It didn't feel like there was anything particularly wrong with the JWU composition. It's just that they felt a little scattered around in the map, and that something was lacking in their communication.
Yeah, these little fixes, and I think easily JWU could take us to a game 3, but it's Assumption and JWU Blue here in our Challengers Atlantic. JWU comes in at 5-1. Assumption comes in at 5-2. So both teams near the top of those Challenger Atlantic standings. And game number 1 did not disappoint, a back and forth affair that Assumption ended up claiming really again on the back of their objective play. We talked about it in the game. I don't believe a single major objective was picked up by JWU Blue. And once again, they did this in game 1. It got them a first blood pick. Did JWU Blue on the red side now, all grouped up, potentially looking for an invade here onto NECC, but this time it does look like they'll turn around. They don't have that same oomph without the Thresh on their side.
Oh, definitely not. At the same time, it looks like Assumption is trying to be a nice and proactive in regards to how they defend their jungle, because they saw how aggressive JWU was in the previous match. So it's only fair that they try to do so. They're gonna meet each other here. Some damage coming from the Vel'Koz and 2 wards being put around this red buff, but it's going to be a blue ward coming from Assumption to actually scout where the junglers are going to be.
Yeah, that's a fantastic ward that our production gives us the vision of there. It's going to give them the exact knowledge of where Scalzi starts, and he's going to start at that red. So they're going to know exactly where he wants to path. It does look like 1C3P will be on the bottom side, so the junglers might not run into each other. I think that is totally fine. I think for the side of Assumption, you want to get this Maokai top lane. You have the ranged melee matchup. Kozan should be able to chip down Ho-Ho throughout this early game, and that really should allow you to get maybe a free setup gank in that level 3, level 4 range for IC1C3P, who really popped off. I am kind of annoyed he's not on a more carried jungler soap yet, I will say, because I don't like Maokai as well, because I think he's just a very annoying tank, but I think that he loses some play potential being on more of a tanky jungler this time.
You're literally reading my mind, Fish. I was just thinking that IC3P was doing so well on the Vi, and the Maokai is going to feel a little more passive in comparison to what the Vi can do. But one thing absolutely non-related, I think we have talked about it throughout the season. Bewitching is one of my favorite skin lines, and Tristana has that skin, so I'm very happy about it.
Maybe that'll be the Sofchan skin buff that JWU needs. We do see Kozan close to the Meganar. I am curious. As much as I hate Yuumi, I do think the Cat Maokai is one of my favorite skins, and I think he has it on. I love the meow when he throws the sapling, so that might be a help as well. As we do see Rewind Time get some damage onto Sergeant Diddle, dropping him very low, but a great knockback as well with the Tectonic Disruption. As you can see, both these players, again, I think this mid lane will be a ton of fun to watch, because very rarely, if ever, do you get to see two players on their mains in a game in the NECC, and that's exactly what's happening for Sergeant in Rewind Time.
Oh yeah, not only that, you're not going to see them playing with their mains and not have them being aggressive. They want to show a little bit of what they're capable of. They want to show why they are so good in those, and they're going to land the first hook onto Lelode. Some damage coming from onto the support as well, as they got tower targeted, and Dello is going to have to run away with a lot of health failing there.
Scalzi hanging around in this bottom river right now, taking care of that Scuttle Crab. Kozan gets jumped on, but here comes 1C3P. There is no ward for Ho-Ho. He does have the flash if he needs to get away. Gonna get rooted, smashed back, and instead flashes for the kill. But Kozan gonna be able to flash backwards, and this should be first blood picked up for the Gnar. The aggressive flash for the Jax not paying off.
Yeah, but very nicely done by Assumption there. Again, one thing that we had mentioned is how they go around the map pretty efficiently. And not only that, it felt like JWU was lacking some of that vision. They go in and then get the flay as well. But Noct is falling so low. The bomb is going to hit. They're very close. The ignite is sticking. And they're just one hit away. There they have it. Noct is going to be the first one to fall. Dello very close. They flash forward and take another one with them. But again, as I said, the presence from the junglers is so important. This time around, it was Causey coming for their rescue and coming for the red cup.
Yeah, fantastic job by Scalzi. Unfortunately, couldn't save his support, but it did force Gabe Force to flash in order to secure that kill. I think that's a good trade, though, even for the AD carry. Being able to pick up those early kills is massive, as Sergeant Diddle takes a ton of damage from Rewind Time. Here comes Scalzi as well. Not level 6 yet, so no Glacial Prison. Meanwhile, it's a party in the mid lane. Dello is here. 1C3P on the top side making an appearance. He's going to turn around and run away, and both mid laners, with some support, going to just kind of back off and let everybody go back to their respective spots for now.
I am very happy to see that much knowledge around the map and that much presence from the rest of the team. Noct is here as well when they saw that Dello was still sticking in the lane, getting some of that shield with Guardian for its Rewind Time. And I think that is going to work super well for JWU Blue, because it felt like that was one of the key things that were missing in the last game. So they have been able to capitalize on those, get trades in counter picks and counter ganks. So I'm happy that they were able to correct that one mistake, because overall, they wouldn't have gone into the final week of NECC on a score of 5-2 if they weren't great.
Exactly. We'll see if they can get that first objective of the game, because remember, they did not get a single dragon, a single Rift Herald, a single Baron in game number 1. But this first dragon looks like it should be JWU Blues here, as we are going to see Sejuani hop on top of it. There really isn't any prio across the map for Assumption, especially in that mid lane. You could see Rewind Time pushing in. This should be the Ocean Dragon going over to JWU, and they've, as you mentioned, Sofchan, they're correcting almost all of the major mistakes that put them behind in game number 1, and proving why they're at the top of their division. And potentially, if a win here could knock Assumption down, as that first dragon does get picked up for the blue side or the red side.
Lovely control on the objective here. You have Tristana getting ahead, 2 kills on her hands, and with that she's going to be able to scale more, get their first mythic item as soon as she can. 1C3P getting here in the fog of war. Maybe they're going to get something with a hook. We'll see if that's going to land something for Assumption.
Lalo Day did not know he was there, jumped in, but was able to rocket jump out. You believe the death sentence missed as well. A flay back though. Dello gets caught, forced to flash away, has the ignite on him. Not level 6 for the quickness. They need a couple more shots, but they're not able to find it. Nuck taking a couple tower shots. Doesn't mean he has to turn away. 1C3P goes forward with the twisted advance, but cannot get the Bramble Smash back. And here comes the Sejuani, and there are low health bars for the blue team. A nice death sentence from Nuck into a great dash, trying to buy his time for his team. He does get knocked up in the air. A huge 3-man flay, and he trades 1 for 1. Both supports go down as the AD carries pick up the respective kills.
What a comeback. You were saying there, Fish, how they were very, very low. Assumption was nearly dead. And wow, the comeback again. Gabe Force taking that shutdown on Tristana. And the flawless play on 3 members of JWU on Nucked. Wow, that was amazing.
Yeah, I thought for a moment that was, when we talk about it all the time, you play support, you kind of just got to sacrifice yourself and take one for the team. I thought that's what Nuck was doing. I thought Nuck was just going to take one, take the loss, keep his teammates alive. The fact they traded that out, absolutely insane. We did see Ho-Ho pop that ult top side. Kozan doing a great job in this range matchup. Meanwhile, everybody mid lane once again. Dello over the wall. Nuck going to throw out the death sentence. It will land. There will not be a follow-up, so both supports kind of say, hey, what's up? And they'll turn around.
You had Sergeant Diddle trying to get some damage with those abilities, but Dello was able to dodge them, so nothing coming out of it aside from some waving around, maybe shaking hands from the 2 supports. But as you said, I think that JWU came back to this game knowing more of how they could fix the mistakes or the things that were falling a little behind in the previous game, Fish. And even though that was the case, Nucked with that play was just absolutely insane on that flay, guaranteeing that it was not only going to be 1 kill for their ADC, but at the same time giving Gabe Force the strength to go on Lalo Day themselves. That was really good.
Yeah, the shutdown as well. Another bonus 300 gold going into Gabe Force's pocket. The last thing you want to see, he actually finishes the first mythic item in the game, and once that Xayah will finish her second item, as we saw in that last game, becomes an absolute powerhouse. Meanwhile, top lane, we do have the Mega Gnar popped. The Gnar into the wall, but I don't believe the stun landed. Counter-Strike going to come out. A flash from Kozan. He gets stunned, but he picks up the kill regardless. Now, all of a sudden, in the jungle, 133P going to go forward with the Twisted Advance. The Bramble Smash can't quite land. Root from the Nature's Grasp is going to land on Rewind Time. There comes the ult from Sergeant Diddle. Both numbers very, very low. Rewind Time going to rewind, but he's right next to everyone. One more auto for 1C3P. Picks up the kill as the Graceful Prison did just barely miss, unfortunately, for the Sejuani.
Yeah, Scalzi was just nearly dead as well, but they managed to escape. Not unfortunately, Rewind Time wasn't able to do the same. We have a game pause pretty quickly. We're gonna get that sorted as fast as we can. And Fish, I think that every single time that we have had something happen in these lanes, we have had pressure from everyone. How many times have we seen Dallar and Nucked in the mid lane just getting presence, just getting vision, and sometimes taking out vision, clearing out the wards as well? So I'm very happy what both teams are bringing to the table this time around. And I think that JWU has more potential in turning this into a Game 3 scenario. At the same time, Assumption still clean with those plays in the bot lane.
I think you're totally right. It definitely feels like, I mean, as you talked about, both these mid laners wanted to be aggressive, but they don't want to do it in a dumb way, right? They're calling their supports up. They're saying, hey, let's guarantee I pick up a kill out of the Echo. Let's guarantee this Vel'Koz doesn't turn around and kill me. Because if you lose on your main, trust me, anytime you look up the OPGG in the solo queue game and you see somebody's on their main and you beat them, you just feel that much better, and they don't want to give that feeling to the other team. So I like the fact that both supports have been kind of there. I will say, right as everything was looking great for JWU, we start to get those little cracks that we saw in game 1, right? The loss from Lalo Day just sticking around too long in that bot lane, giving up a shutdown. The Kozan picking up another kill on that top side, and then unfortunately 1C3P still a menace on this Maokai. It's those little things that I think Subchan they need to avoid, because that lead for Assumption, I think, just went up by probably about 1,000 gold in the last 3 minutes, and that is going to be a problem for JWU if they cannot correct it.
Oh yeah, and it's the cumulative money from the shutdown gold that you had on the hands of Zaya, and
Mhm.
then it mounted up to what was it? I think that was another 2 kills happening afterwards for
Yep.
Zaya as well, and she's now 3-1. And that's one thing that we were mentioning. If Tristana could get the first mythic item in the game, that would be huge, and that's how JWU would stay on top. And then all of a sudden, they gave in that opportunity for Assumption when Zaya was the one able to get Kraken Slayer first, and it can just start getting into very dark and murky waters when you see a Zaya getting that strong again. And it's because of what you crafted in the draft, because you decided that you wanted to give the opponent the benefit of the first pick, the benefit of knowing that they could take the Zaya, and they did. So you gotta be very careful on how you play things from now on, because Assumption has the potential to just turn this into a game one again and be in a sweep for the final game of for the final season of series of NECC regular season. That is not going to feel very great for JWU.
Yeah, especially if Assumption wins, they would probably jump over JWU in the standings. Now, all of a sudden, they might have the side advantage if you meet the playoffs, depending on how the whole situation goes. We are in game 2 here. Challengers Atlantic, Assumption, and JWU Blue do have a pause right now. Hopefully, should be able to get back in very soon. Assumption, as Sofchan said, did win game number 1. They're looking for the sweep in our final game of the regular season here for both of these teams. But I think it's really the Zaya problem, as you highlighted it. if they lose this game for JWU, I think the question has to be, okay, we get that you picked red side because you probably wanted to go 1-2 on that second phase and get your support ADC, but why leave the Zaya through? Why not let the Varus through? Why not let the Anivia through if you're not going to ban the Vel'Koz, which is Sergeant Diddle's main? I think that's where the questions will form. We're still very early on, around that 10-12 minute mark, but something to keep in mind for JWU as this game started to go, because the other thing, as that Gnar kill happened, Kozon had about a 15 CS lead in that top lane. The small little windows are starting to build up here for Assumption, so we'll have to see if that is going to continue to grow for them, or if JWU has to come back, which, again, there's plenty of time. They did pick up that first dragon as well, Sofchan, so doing the right things. They just need to not give up so many free kills like we just saw in the last few minutes, as we're back in the game here, and already we almost lose Dello. We come back, and he's at less than 50 HP on that bottom side.
Yeah, and you have Lalo Day trying to clear out this wave as much as they can, and Plates are going for the side of Assumption. They get the box and Ignite on Lalo Day, and it's definitely just to try to scare them around, maybe just a preemptive attempt, but Scalzi is around the corner too, so something might come down if they push this, and it could land into a glacial prison and a nice shutdown on the Zaya. That would be prime for the JWU.
Holiday still hanging around, did have to use his flash to escape, and now Dello is back, has the quickness as well. I think Nuct and Gabe Force realized something is up and immediately turned tail and run. You even had Rewind Time roaming down. Mega Gnar going to be popped here. Gnar into the wall for Kozon, but no follow-up as he's under the tower. Death Sentence is going to land on a Dello, but just a little trading back and forth as everything starts to slow down. We might have an attempt here in the mid lane and the bot lane as well. You can see Scalzi was on top of Sergeant Diddle in the mid, but did not have that Glacial Prison off cooldown, so everybody escapes without too much trouble.
Too much trouble indeed, but it's so nice to see that they are positioning well here in the bot lane. They had the backup from Scalzi. They don't have that much vision. Yeah, they actually don't have any vision whatsoever for the side of JWU in this river. It's all Assumption. Everything is blue around here. Bottom river, top river. And that's one of the things that happened in the last game. Fortunately for JWU, they got the first Drake. It's Rewind Time. Is going for this one. They use the Rewind Time and get away from Vel'Koz's ultimate as well. And it's going to be one ulti for another in the mid lane, nothing else.
Back that Rewind Time low on mana, though, is a problem. Nuck gonna get charged, knocked up in the air, lands a 3-man flay, gives the kill over to Echo, but he bought enough time for Assumption to pick up that dragon. Meanwhile, Glacial Prison does land onto Sergeant Diddle under the tower. He will go down. Can Scalzi get away? Yes, he can. So a huge double kill in that mid lane for JWU. Uh-oh. Scalzi.
Scalzi.
He is dead. Oh, a fantastic counter on the Featherstorm as well for Game Force. Absolutely runs away from Lolode. 1C3P might even just pick up the solo kill. He will. It's just actually went over to Game Force. What a play. We saw this in game number 1, and you commented on it multiple times. So, Chan, Game Force on the Xayah is absolutely insane with those Featherstorms.
Oh, they are amazing, aren't they? Every single time. It's not just to position well and get those feathers to pull them back and get the amount of damage that you would expect from a Xayah. It's also the invulnerability that you get from it. It's going to be the first herald of the game being popped here in the bot lane. They're going to take down this turret, all the platings for the jungler and the ADC, and they're going to go on Dello as well. They managed to get away, but Assumption showing that they know how to position on team fights. And again, Lolode maybe just being a little too premature on going in with those rocket jumps. And I understand that happens to me as well, but you gotta be careful.
Yeah, honestly, it's hard to fault Lolode as much as it is just to credit Gabe Force, because as you pointed out, you can't be passive on the Tristana. You have to look to make plays, but it seems like Gabe Force always has the answer. Is Ho gonna get caught in that disintegration beam, and well, he won't quite be disintegrated by it, but he will go down. Not gonna pick up the kill. And this is kind of where we left off in that pause, right? It was even, and when we started that pause, now it's a 4K gold lead for Assumption, and it's just the small things. Rewind time, gonna go in, gets knocked back, and now all of a sudden Nature's Grass coming in. He's not able to dodge it with the chrono break, and he is gonna go down. That's now multiple kills handed over, unfortunately to Nuck, but that's still assist money going on to Sergeant Diddle.
Yeah, it's still kill participation for all of those, and that's one thing that I was going to say, Fish. It's just so much kill participation and gold distribution around the map. You had 3 people participating in that kill. You had Kozon taking down the tier 1 in the top lane. They're pushing a little further here as well. And that ramification, that coordination that they have been able to pull out so far, Assumption just working so well. Kozon kiting Scalzi as Ho-Ho's trying to approach them. They had to flash away, but it doesn't stop the stun into another stun into Glacial Prison. They turn into Magana, still dealing quite a lot of damage, but they're going to try to run as fast as they can. Scalzi chasing them. What they're going to do? Gets the stun, hops, and they are looking to be safe on this one. Wow.
What a play from Kozon. I thought for sure after the stun into the Glacial Prison landed that he was dead. He gets away. Not a lot used. Just a flash used on both sides, so nothing too crazy. I will say that is the one thing that maybe the Sejuani pick has left me wanting more, is the Sejuani pairs so well with the melee top, the ability to stack her passive. We haven't seen Scalzi top lane at all. He's kind of left Ho-Ho on this island in a melee range matchup. And while Scalzi's been making plays across the map, the big difference in this game right now is that 2-0 Gnar versus the 0-3 Jax. And I think that's something that maybe JWU needs to find out, because I don't know if Gnar can be shut down anymore. He's going to hop on to Rewind Time, who does get that first objective bounty. It looks like he will be able to get away.
At least Echo is still doing quite a lot of damage this time around. You don't have an AP top laner. You don't have a... Well, Sejuani is going to deal some AP damage, but she's mainly going to get the CC for your team and get the tank front line for JWU. Bot lane, Kozon is going to fight against the Rewind Time. They use their... Oh, their ulti is just exploding them. Gets the final shot from Electrocute and finishes that one off with a kill.
Ooh, they might find another kill here on the Nook. That's a huge shutdown for Lolode, and now Gabe Force is in trouble. Does have the Featherstorm. Gonna use that. Probably gonna try and flash away as well. Gets a couple of roots, but Lolode, another huge shutdown for the AD carry for JWU Blue, and just like that, this Tristana picks up 2 kills and a ton of gold.
A ton of gold and potentially this mid turret as well. With that explosion, you can take turrets so easily. You have Scalzi zoning around one. I always confuse if it's I or if it's one. It looks so similar. One C3P and Sergeant Diddle having the area. They're not even warding. They're just going for the Drake instead. No Herald pressure for this time around. And everyone is collapsing behind a pit.
Teleport gonna come in here from Ho-Ho. We'll see if we get in range in time to help out Scalzi, and the answer is no. Scalzi will go down. Nature's Grasp is going to go out. Now Ho-Ho, unfortunately, stuck next to 3 members of Assumption, trying to take down the jungler, but cannot find it. It's a double kill, and all of a sudden, this Infernal Dragon, the first one of the game after the team split the initial dragons, looks to be going over to the side of Assumption. Rewind time sticking around, but remember, this is not the Jungle Echo, so there is no smite available. He's got to steal it without the finished execute, and he's just unfortunately going to get held off from the dragon. So the first Infernal Dragon goes over to Assumption here in game number 2.
Yes, it does. And again, it's starting to look a little scary for JWU. You have given your first Infernal to Assumption. It's going to be an Assumption Soul. Oh, an Assumption Soul. It's going to be an Infernal Soul. It's going to be a 1 trade kill for a mid laner and an ADC, but a big shutdown that goes to Sergeant Diddle because of how much gold Lalo they had.
I think in that we've seen that a lot from Lolode. We saw it mainly in game 1 with him and Gabe Force trading 1-for-1s. This time, Zed trades out with the mid laner, but with that kill bonus going over the shutdown to Sergeant Diddle, I think that kind of gives it over into Assumption's hands here a little bit. There is 50 seconds left on this Rift Herald. Scalesy goes over the wall. He's going to get hit by the death sentence. Box going to come out as well. There is a flash up for the Sejuani, but they can't even get close. They do have to flash dash over the wall. Now Dello coming over. This Rift Herald completely open, and it will be picked up by Gabe Force. We now see the teleport coming in. Great Featherstorm to dodge the counter strike into the root here. Nature's Grasp going to secure the kill as Sergeant Diddle will pick that one up. So they get 1 and the Rift Herald for Assumption.
Oh, I just noticed here the stats for the JWU top laner are not looking great this time around. 0-6-0, very far behind on CS compared to Kozon in the top lane. Things are getting a little difficult for the red team as they have lost the first Inferno, as we mentioned. It's going to be an Inferno Soul, and as much damage as the Xayah can stack up, it can just be everything to win out the game. Lolode doesn't have vision, and it has been a constant all throughout this match. The amount of wards you have from the blue side deep into the red jungle is so much compared to the other side. They're left in the darkness.
Warding has been... Oh, Lolode luckily gets away as the death sentence was used on Dello, but Dello's not out of the woods yet. Has to pop the quickness just to escape. That will be a big one there. Is I think, as you said, the warding been an issue. I will say for Lolode, he does have a level on Gabe Force. Gabe Force just did hit level 11, so Lolode is about a half level ahead. That's something to keep in mind with how often he wants to force 1v1s. He will have a stat advantage from time to time over his enemy AD carry.
Yeah, getting close. 2 minutes to the next Drake spawning, and the pressure coming from Assumption is huge. Are they going to be able to defend this one? Not with a Herald, not with the Nature's Grasp going in on them. Oh no!
The disintegration rate disintegrates Lolode. Rewind time gonna go down as well. Dello will fall. The Glacial Prison will at least secure the 1 kill onto Gabe Force, but that might be the only kill. The Ignite ticking. Oh, getting some life steal, but not enough to survive the auto attacks from this Vel'Koz, and it is an ace. And with Rift Herald, this could be game. I know Lolode's up in 13, so it'll be close, but this might be enough to destroy most of the base for the side of Assumption.
Oh, it's definitely open at this point. Mid lane is wide open. Maybe they're going to try to get something on the other lanes. You still have those tier 2s on the side lanes. 1 hit is going to be the last one in that Nexus. Sorry, they go in. They get the final shutdown. Kozon takes the Tristana down. In both Nexus, Sorry's rewind time is going in on them. But the sentence, every single time, Nukt landing those, getting the ADCs and the damage dealers away from trouble, and again it's gonna be the Gnar ulti this time.
3-man Gnar ult. Unfortunately, the respawns are just simply too quick, especially with Gabe Force going down. So Assumption will not be able to finish off this game, but the Nexus will be exposed. And 1C3P will take his death. The shutdown going over to Ho-Ho. Dello now forced to pop the quickness to try and get away from Kozon. Gabe Force is coming back in, by the way. Gabe Force going to pick up 1, might pick up another with the Featherstorm. And now it's all up to Lalo Day and Rewind Time. I think you have to back here, though. That's the right call from Assumption. The respawns are just too quick at this point.
Yes, I assume that Assumption has to make that choice. Kozon has to back away from this one as much as Gabe Force can rack people to the ground. It's not gonna be enough if you don't have the backup from the rest of your team. They're gonna get stunned knocked into the wall from the Nara ulti. They flash forward, and it's very, very bold from Gabe Force, but they manage to get the ulti. Kozon goes in on Lalo Day, dealing so much damage in the mini form, forces a flash, and if that boomerang was an auto attack, Lalo Day would be dead.
Rewind Time, the only one who is still dead, so it's 4 members up for JWU, and that'll be enough to convince Assumption to head over to the Dragon Pit, put themselves on Infernal Soul Point for the 2nd game in a row. Absolute masterclass on this Gnar, by the way, Sofchan, in that I'm not really sure what to call it because they weren't really going for the game end. They were just kind of seeing how far they could get, but the 3-man Gnar really turned around what was a losing fight for them, and I think one more team fight and it's going to be over from the side of JWU, unless they have a miracle, because when your Nexus is exposed, it just is so hard, especially this early in the game, to come back.
It does seem to be the case, Fish. They have the base wide open, inhibitor down. Should they want to split, they can get things in the side lanes. They can get those tier 2s down as well. They're positioning here for the Baron, and that's one thing that we have seen all throughout the match. They want to go for some place. They have it warded. They have the presence from those deep wards, but at least this time around, Assumption's going to try to take it back. Oh, JWU.
Goes on with another massive Gnar ult into the Baron Pit wall. A double kill for Gabe Force. Dello and Lalo Day will try and run away, and there's a deep ward in the base of JWU. The teleport coming out from Sergeant Diddle. His teammates have just got to stop the back, and this Vel'Koz, actually Vel'Koz doesn't want to win the game. He wants the kills. He corners Lalo Day and Dello. He did not want to finish the game. He wants to end it with a couple more kills. They find Dello. Lalo Day will get a kill, but his team will unfortunately lose the game. It's an ace and a sweep here for Assumption as they take down JWU. They move to 6-2, while JWU will go to 5-2. So a massive win at the top of the Challengers Atlantic standings here, Sofchan, as we head into that playoffs in a couple of weeks.
Grand Fish, grand for Assumption, and that ward in the base. Amazing. They had it all figured out from the start. It felt like that was the case from the very first game of the series, with this one showing that they knew, well, they might try to do something in the base, but we have a ward in their base, and they're going to be able to, even if they try to go for Baron, well, we have TPs. We have 2 TPs at least that we can use, and having a Vel'Koz flanking, those tentacles just going like zoom, that's scary. That's scary, and basically it just made them tumble, and it was game over.
They didn't even use my favorite part is, all right, we're gonna get a base race, and then Sergeant Diddle's like, nah, I'm here to pad the stats. I don't care about the Nexus. I want the double kill. But you're right. I think Assumption played fantastically. Of course, JWU, it's just this, I think a couple of small things. Game 1, more of a disaster. Game 2 was better. I don't think the pause was because of an issue. I think it ended up being a headset problem, but that's kind of where everything fell apart, where they started getting solo killed on the top side, where they started losing those 1v1s. But again, they're 5-2 on the season. They did that for a reason, Sofchan. As we end our regular season cast, we still got a game coming up. What are your final thoughts on what we saw here in this Challengers Atlantic Showdown from 2 teams who are most likely going to be in the playoffs with those records?
Oh, they definitely are. I think that Assumption is coming in super strong. I know we have at least a couple of weeks of gap between the end of our regular season and the playoffs, but having played against every single team in that division, in that conference, one thing within the other, in that conference, they have been able to know so much about how they play right now, and being on 6-2, they can go really strong and confident to the playoffs. Being the last match as well was sweep. They've had so many sweeps in the season too. I think they have everything to perform super well in the playoffs. In JWU Blue, this was just another week, okay? You guys were still 5-2 in the whole season. That is incredible stats, and it's just one week that didn't go that well. And I know that with the stats that you guys have, you're gonna still do great in the playoffs.
As you said, that time off, good for Assumption to kind of keep rolling, good for JWU, get that reset, kind of focus in on what went wrong. We're not done here on the NECC. This will do it for Fish and Soapchan. But Echo and Regdor have your next game, Emergence Pacific Showdown, NMT Miners taking on Islander Tempest. You don't want to miss it. We'll see you guys in the playoffs for Fish and Soapchan, but we've got more League of Legends coming up right after this.
Welcome back, everyone, to the NECC Highlighted. My name is Orbital, your host, and hopefully some amazing clips to follow. We are just done with week number 7, and, I may have wrongly stated how many weeks are left, but, that just means more action throughout the regular season. Things are heating up here as teams are ramping up once again with only 2 weeks left of regular play. With that being said, let's go ahead and take a look at some of the amazing plays that have gone down this week as well, and take a look at what the teams have to offer. Here are this week's highlighted moments.
Just can't really do too much. You do get that shutdown on Maddie, but even in slow motion cover, still in the back of the map, up there towards ramp, holding things down.
Ooh.
Dang it, 2 and 5 to third with it as well. That's a 4K for the round.
Up through heaven. They've got to get a 4K. Can close up for one, hunting for a second.
two.
Flawless between the two of them, but a defuse actively going down. They'll hop off for a moment. They'll find 3. Now just one more around the corner. Prowler is sent. They've been marked before. They're in the open, and Maddie will clutch things up.
Ooh, with the wide swing, leads to nothing but jam and just comes out.
Your alibi is that Kaid going to peek. Instead, it is going to be that mute as bodies trade back and forth. Clam on about 20 HP is going to have to stop this attack. The C4 blows open Aqua, the player, not the coastline area. And with 2 players remaining and a lot of time to work with, you can get information, really secure your spot here.
Yeah, there we go. That's what's going to be really important for Quality here is putting down the plant. Oh, he is going to be able to hear that go down. He's not fast enough in removing himself from the situation of 3K now for Clam, who is just
turning the attention at least, but that proximity alarm gives away the fact that Jacob is on the far side. There's a spray from in front, but timing costs him.
Blossom's quickly evening it back up right now. That just leaves the Magic Comic and the Heretic here to fight this one out. Good swing from the Magic Comic. He picks up 2. Earthquake pushing in. The last one left alive, and another defense.
Look for something cheeky here. Maybe just run in, give his life for it. Pops the ulti, but he wants kills. Dragon will be locked down, though. He finds one. He will eat the dirt, though. Down goes yet another member, and it's actually looking pretty damn good for Ice.
Anchor barely keeps Convicted alive, but 3 summoner spells on both sides going to be used. And meanwhile, Absence of Mind pops the counter strike. WQM goes back in, and he gets first blood.
Much reason to stay here in the bot side.
Convicted gets rooted, but a nice condemn onto the Maokai. Here comes Speedy Kill Ninja with the ult fill. The Twisted Advance is too late. Hostile Takeover goes out.
Wow.
Doesn't land. Drifter Man trying to at least get one back onto Convicted.
Excuse?
Yet uses the second one, but cannot find a kill. Green Runner's already picked up the Lulu, looking for one, but not going to find it. But this is Reset City for the Jinx. Make it 3 flash forward, makes it 4. Another Quadra kill.
The front line, they're nailing these shots. They're looking like a dominant force going into this.
Ooh, Deadeye through the...
Oh, wow!
Barrier gets boofed by LSM.
Morningside blindsiding them, taking the dub of the first map. Beautiful Earth Shatter coming out from a Monkey on the side of NTC for the play of the game.
But it is all about making more, as they are still down 2 in the game. Oh my goodness, Gentix, are you kidding me?
I mean, this is what this is all about, and I mean, we're getting action from both scenes right now. And early look at goal. Oh my God, almost buried top corner, and the shot coming back in. That's it from Juventix, the 10-second golden goal. I think it's going to really come down to some kind of magic from the end. The double tap, the duck core with the beautiful goal. That is a fantastic touch.
Not everything can be perfect, though, and not everything can work as planned. There are always some mistakes that might occur, and because of that, we have this week's misclicks. Please go ahead and enjoy some of the funnier moments of this week.
Eddie takes one down. There's a quick teleportation over onto A, but it's denied. It's canceled. And it's actually a trick to get Mig to teleport too, but they cancel it as well. And picked up 2 frags in the attempt to walk through. What is this blunder of epic proportions?
They're still running. Okay, I've said some line. Maybe the cleaver. Oh no! What?
Geez, next ornament has already come out. It was given Halachu, that upgraded mask. I'm gonna be honest with you, I know none of the upgraded items. What are we naming? We have the leg already, so now we gotta give a great name to the meta.
Leandry's Anguish, Wolf, Leandry's Torment. No. That was already an item name. We'll call it Leandry's Depression.
And with that, we close out week 7. There's so much more action to be had as it all kicks off throughout the week, every day, starting at 5 p.m. EST. Starting on Monday will be Valorant, of course, and we'll be running throughout the course of the week, so make sure to stay tuned, and thank you so much for watching the NECC Highlighted.
All right, and what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the NECC. Week 8 is still well underway right now. Last series was a quick 2-0, and if I'm looking at the scoreboards, Rector, some would definitely believe that this is going to be a quick 2-0 as well, but you never know. I've got my doubts.
Okay, yeah, you're definitely welcome to have some doubts. I mean, I was supposed to be living in sunny California. I have doubts because it's been raining for the past 24 hours. So we all have dreams. Some of them get crushed, some of them come true.
They do indeed. And our two teams for today, firstly, are going to be the New Mexico Institute of Mining and Technology, and they're going to be going up against Islander Tempest. And Islander Tempest in particular, Rector, definitely have some big dreams right now. At the moment, 1-6, not the best lineup to have right now. So they're definitely looking to get a win, and what better team to do it against than one of the teams that is at the top of their league, being 6-1. But more importantly, we need to find out who it is that is actually going to be filling these teams out. So let's throw it over to the rosters real quick. Let's take a look here. We're gonna first check out NMT Miners here. These guys have been killing it on the Rift today. In the top lane, Borrowed Bagel. In the jungle, Mini Boots. In the mid lane, Moami. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. If not, Twitch chat, feel free to flame me. The bot lane, Nightfall. And in the support, Pizza Mawe as well. Oh, they both got the same name. If I mispronounce one, I'm going to mispronounce both, and I'll just feel terrible, Rector.
No, you're going to be good. I think it's Moame?
Is it Moa?
I don't
Is it
know.
Moami?
Moame? Yeah. At least that's how
Moami?
Google tells me. I also love the, shout out to players, Nightfall. I'm pretty sure that was the jungler's name in the show, so, respect.
True. Oh, okay, wait, I just looked at the sheet. Okay, it's Moame. All right, there we go. So we got Fito, Momwe, and just Momwe. All right. That's going to be a tongue twister.
Yeah, I believe in you. But we got to see who's on the opposite side for Islanders Tempest, which is interesting name for a team, as they are from Texas A&M, down in Corpus Christi. I don't know too many islands in Texas, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, I'm be first if I ever saw that. If we can swap on over, check out Islander Tempest roster real quick as well. See who we've got going here. And it's some... Oh, we actually don't have the top laner there for reasons I'm sure we'll see when we get into game itself. They had a lot of spicy names. We love looking for some spicy names, Rector, and they did not disappoint this time around here over at Islander Tempest. Nutty Ryan, as well as Big Tatas in the mid lane. Sushi in the bot. Nice voice crack. Okay, excuse me. Sushi. As well as Crystal Tora on the support here. These guys have not been finding the success that they have been looking for, and when we're 2 weeks away from playoffs, now's the time to get into gear, Rector, because they are running out of time. We have 2 more weeks until we get these playoffs started, so they definitely want to look for a win.
Yeah, no, they absolutely want to look for a win. They want to look for some strength, and at some point you have to go back to the drawing board and say, okay, number one, how are we playing and what do we want to accomplish? But number two is, how do we get ready for summer, or the second half of this split here once we get past the first set of playoffs? Because that's realistically where Islander Tempest has to be looking, with all due respect to what they've done thus far. I usually say you're not a mathematician. I'm not one either, but I grabbed a calculator, and I don't think the math is there for them to make playoffs.
Yeah, it's definitely looking rough. Who are a lot of mathematicians, actually. A lot of the members of Islander Tempest when you look at some of the majors. But that's not here nor there, because they don't need any of that for the Rift itself here. I'm curious whether or not they faced NMT Miners before. It's looking like, no, they have not. So this is going to be the first time that they go up against each other, which can be a positive as well as a negative. I feel it can be a positive because you can bring out some new tech that they won't expect, right? Something crazy, something really hard hitting. But at the same time, you also don't know what to expect from NMT Miners. All you can see is that 6-0 regular season scoreboard, and you're like, well, damn, this is gonna be rough.
Yeah, that's one of those situations where your what's it called? Reputation precedes you going up against the undefeated team here, and they are on the blue side as well, which I took down the sign that said blue side OP, but definitely still great if you have a very singular thought process in mind to be able to pick up that first OP pick along the way here.
Definitely so. The bans have gone underway. Obviously, we're going to be seeing them picking in a particular lineup here. The draft was done previously, so we can touch on that once we've got all the lineups set. But at the moment, bans somewhat stock standard, really. top laners. It's Tank City up in this top lane right now.
Yeah, you know, we were just, I was raging off call about the Scion because this champion is disgusting, and no matter what you do, if you don't kill and get the game over enough, Nutty Ryan here will become nutty with the amount of effective health he's going to have to be able to soak up damage with that Heartsteel, with Grasp of the Undying, and all those pieces kind of coming together.
Yeah, absolutely. So, just flying through these picks right now. Interesting enough that Bel'Veth was the first thing to get picked up by NMT Miners with their B1. So, it's a special emphasis on that Bel'Veth, and that's a pick we don't see as often anymore. You know, before when she first came out, it was kind of all the craze, and then slowly but surely, just kind of fell out of favorability.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it does kind of go on and off. One of my friends was talking about it the other day, but Bel'Veth needs stability, and that's one of the reasons why I think that she's not been favored as much in the meta, is because it has been the quick, you know, buff Gromp or buff Raptors, get your level 3, get a gank in, and then get prepared and kind of be online, whereas Bel'Veth is the level 6, get to the Rift Herald, sort of like 7-minute timer player that just doesn't work very well in the common setup. I was going to say, it looked a little weird there in the draft. I do believe it's going to be Miners with the Cassiopeia, which is going to be a good note, but 12 out of... Not exactly sure as we're going to watch this continue to kind of play out.
Yeah, it seems like they... They backed out of the draft and it broke it up a little bit, so we're gonna have to wait for them to, I assume, wait for them to get it restarted, or I'm not sure if it's gonna be frozen like this from now on. But other than that,
they're doing the bans again.
Yeah, they're running through the bans again. But yeah, that Cassiopeia is gonna be on the side of the NMT Miners. So already, it's feeling like a bit of a solo queue comp already coming out right there. I'm not gonna. These are a lot of flashy picks.
Yeah, I do definitely like it as we're gonna get a little bit further on through here. But the Cassiopeia is a champion that has been showing a lot in the NACL. May has not broken into exactly the pro scene, but is especially great with the Seraph changes, with how strong Roa is, to the point that, you know, Catalyst is getting nerfed next patch. She is a scaling monster, and when you have things like Wukong already showing in the game, this is able to take away a lot of that mobility, right? With the Miasma being able to ground these guys and not let them to dash through. It creates a really great front to back team fight there with the Ornn, with the Bel'Veth, kind of getting resets, grabbing those resets and health, and just being able to effectively keep on just chewing through the Islanders Tempest.
Definitely so. Jeff's gonna disappear for a second, as I'm assuming we're just gonna get it fixed back up so that we can see the correct picks coming through. But they broke it. Okay, we're being told that they broke it once again, so they're really not trying to make this our jobs easy this time around right there. So I mean, we two of us, we've got those omnipotent powers. We can look further into the draft that came out from these. So let's throw it on over first to the NMT Miners. The other picks that we hadn't seen yet were actually the Lulu and the Tristana coming out in this bot lane, and that was B2, B3. So they really, you know, they knew exactly what they wanted in this bot lane.
Yeah, they did, and in response, there's a little bit of confusion if you're the side of Islanders Tempest. I assume, actually, now that I know there's a Scion, one of these two champions didn't get picked, because it was Kai'Sa, Rakan, Samira, and Syndra. So either Kai'Sa or Samira, I have to assume, were Scion instead. But either way, Samira, Rakan, Samira, Kai'Sa, Samira, Rakan, or Rakan, Kai'Sa, both really serviceable bot lanes that can kind of do something against Lulu Tristana. Lulu is that enchanter that just says, no, you're not allowed to do anything, hits you with the polymorph, really de-incentivize going in down there. And Samira and Kai'Sa are both champions that want to get ahead. So very interesting to opt into that engage versus enchanter matchup down on the bottom side.
Definitely so. Third time's a charm, Regdor, and we've got the draft up for the third time, so maybe this time we can get it to work flawlessly. Already the picks are gone, the bans are coming through, so now we'll get to see, you know, what exactly was picked from either side. Can we talk about Twitch chat's going crazy right now? They're already trash talking each other. This is gonna be a match to witness. I want this to go the full 3-game series. Obviously, if you just looked at numbers, right, you would assume it's gonna be a quick 2-0 for the NMT Miners, but hell, you never know. We might just be surprised here.
Yeah, definitely a chance for surprising. Just You know, they tell you in school that numbers don't lie, but sometimes they do in League of Legends. I gotta be honest with you. And I gotta tell you, as somebody who has worked with pro players as a referee, covering the NACL and everything else, let me tell you, the hardest thing about League of Legends is getting all 10 players into the lobby and actually getting the draft going on time. So it's no surprise here that we've had to run this back 3 times along the way. And now, Cassiopeia and Syndra are on the correct sides of the map.
Yeah, it's nice to see that this problem just follows through all levels of play, right? It's not just the lower you go, the worse it gets. No, it follows you through every single level of play. It's hard. Listen, man, click and join, getting in the right slot, making sure you pick your champ. It's hard work, man. It's a lot easier to get on the Rift and play.
The easiest part is the top laner choosing the 4th ban as their champion. That never happens, I swear. And it was the Samira that was the wrong one. So we are going to have that Kai'Sa Rakan bot lane there for Islanders Tempest, opting into that. And as we can see, Moame down there in the bottom lane, or Fita Moame, has that exhaust in tow, which is going to do a lot to stop these, you know, burst sort of attacks from Kai'Sa, from Syndra in the mid game.
Yeah, and on the flip side, as well, here from Suze as well, on the Kai'Sa, same thing, right? Same tech coming out, has that exhaust as well, which should be able to slow down the Nightfall, right? Some of the damage coming through, or hell, Moame as well, if he wants to come down bot looking for some kind of a roam, that can definitely buy him a little bit of extra time trying to turn those fights in their favor.
Yeah. But look at the Cassiopeia value. It stops the battle dance. It stops the killer instinct. It stops all of Wukong's dashes that I can't think of at the moment. So many champions that are just kind of neutered in a front to back by the miasma. And that means that, you know, really big Tatas is one of the people I'm looking at, has to play asymmetrically, has to be looking for those flanking angles, and really utilize the Scion, Nutty Ryan up there in the top lane, as the big beefy wall that says you do not go past this point.
Yeah, the potential return on investment is huge, but only time will truly tell as we are getting ready to load on to the Rift here. Now we have seen these oh my god, I can't speak today. I'm just hyped to get into the game. Now we've seen the compositions. Right, how are we feeling? Does Island Tempest stand a chance? Because I mean, I feel so far we've really mainly been touching on NMT Miners composition and how much we like what we're seeing, but Island and Tempest, not looking too bad either. You've got that late game security coming out from the Syndra, right? The Samira Rakan, the Kai'Sa Rakan want to get things started early, as well as the Wukong. Once you get that sheen, right? Those denting blows, I mean, they hit like a truck.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to be interested in that 2v2 around jungle mid, because Wukong Syndra can get a lot done. And like we said before, Bel'Veth is not the early champion. She wants to go farm. She wants to just be a PvE player, get those passive stacks up, and really look to capitalize around objectives with level 6 to get that true form. So there is a chance that Islanders Tempest can do something there in the early game, and just really hope, I think the biggest goal here is to keep Scion and Ornn away from everybody else. If you just take what is the main tank of NMT Miners and say you have to sit in side lane and basically babysit this Scion, well then there goes their front line. There goes the majority of their engage. Now we're looking for flash, petrifying gazes from Cassiopeia. We're looking for Bel'Veth to try to like go sicko mode and knock 3 people up, and that becomes a lot harder of a game to play.
Definitely does need that Ornn as well. You don't even have to do anything flashy in your lane, right? Just stay alive, let those ornaments do the work. The later into the game you go, get some of these members just turbo accelerated, right? I mean, an ornament onto the Cassiopeia is going to feel nasty. An ornament on the Bel'Veth is going to feel nasty. An ornament on the Tristana is going to feel nasty. So the later this game goes, the better it might feel for NMT Miners.
No, that's absolutely the case, and that kind of becomes the piece here, is that you have Kai'Sa. Kai'Sa's not directly known for being a tank killer, and Kai'Sa is not known for kind of playing front to back anymore in her current iteration, and that's a lot of what she has to look to do, but she's so short range, and so is Syndra here, that like Cassiopeia, that's playing in her power zone. I almost feel like Tristana's just like icing on the cake here. It's a lane dominant pick, it scales nicely. But this is really, a lot of this feels on the mid lane, feels on this Cassiopeia to me, because of the range at which Islander Tempest has chosen and opted into with this game. that she really gets to pop off, or she really, like, we kind of live by and die by the snake here.
Yeah, it kind of feels like NMT Miners want to just crush Islander Tempest right out of the gate. This is obviously a best of 3, right? So that does mean that the first game, it's not the end of the world if you lose it, but it definitely feels great if you're able to win it, as then you only have to win one more game in comparison to if you lose that first game. You gotta win back-to-back, which is a tough ask, but regardless, I would say if any team can do it, it is going to be Islander Tempest. But at the moment, I'm just waiting to see something that impresses me.
Yeah, definitely looking. This is show and tell. You've shown us the draft, but now tell us how you're going to win on the Rift, because that's the piece that has been missing in this puzzle. I did a quick search because I was trying to see Belveth. We haven't seen in a long time. She used to have like a few different builds. It was the Frostfire Gauntlet before into Bork, or just the full crit route with a Kraken Slayer. And yeah, no, it's still Kraken Slayer. I think in 2% of games on pro builds, somebody took Even Shroud, but that's because they were playing it support. And I don't think that matters here as much. I don't know what to say to that at all, but it happened. But Belveth, like we've talked about, has so much insane scaling, can really just Zerg rush the base if she's able to get a good Herald crash and using, you know, that passive in order to get more of the little Zerglings kind of rushing in there with somebody like Scion, especially on the top side. Woof! That can be a really game-changing or kind of tilting thing to happen, as they're actually not on the same team. But either way, Ornn, Belveth, it works as well.
Absolutely. Well, we're on the Rift Break. We're ready to get things started. NFT Miners going up against Islander Tempest here. Miners looking to continue their undefeated streak here. Looking to go 7-0 in the regular season. While Islander Tempest is looking to pick up a second win, get a win streak going, and prove to everyone that they deserve to stay.
And you can already see there's a little bit of wardage going down here, specifically in that little pixel bush and the bot side river, trying to see if there's any early invades. Rakan should have access to that grand entrance, but really not looking to skirmish with the likes of Tristana and Belveth level 1. Will be interesting to see, as they are looking to start bottom side for the side of the Miners, while on the other side, Big Tatas is going to be pathing down, which is seeming to be the norm. Bottom lane is no longer 2v2, it's a 3v3 lane, if you didn't know.
Dude, and interestingly enough, maybe our sheet's just lying to us, right? Because, I mean, on the sheet itself, Big Tatas was originally placed as the mid laner, but instead they had Study X Guide the mid lane and sent Big Tatas up into the jungle. So I'm curious to see how he looks to perform. And the same difference is for Nutty Ryan, right? He's also mentioned as a jungler, but they sent him up into the top lane. So maybe sending him onto some of their off roles here. Not quite sure what's up with that, but regardless, I'm curious to see how they can perform.
I was told top lane's the easiest role in the game, so it makes sense. If you go from jungle, the hardest role, to top lane, it would be much easier. That's my analysis right there.
More of an island. And I mean, when you look at the picks, it should be fairly chill, right? I don't really see Nutty Ryan and Borrowed Bagel looking for some flashy level 2, level 3 all-ins necessarily. But you know what? I've been wrong before, and I more than enjoy being surprised. But for now, things are just going to be as we expect. The level 3 Gage already coming in from mini boots here. Flash does come out. Going for it, finds a knock-up, looking for some more damage, and first blood already secured. Looking for the double, doesn't quite have the damage necessary, but mini boots already with the first blood. That's a strong showing if I've ever seen one.
Nah. Absolutely changed up what we were saying, right? Is that Belveth doesn't want to do things early, but comes in there with that level 3, and you can just see the damage that Nightfall puts out with just that explosive charge. I think probably 2 or 3 autos on it there. Did a ton of the work to get Crystal Tora down. And it looks as though they are looking to invade. Maybe picked up that blue buff there from Big Tata's side of the jungle, stealing away that buff. We'll get a control ward down, but a little too late.
Yeah, understandably.
Wait, they actually gifted it. They gifted it to Cassiopeia.
Oh, the goats actually goated. And I mean, that's a good response, right? Because that's the only issue when you look to kind of sack your top side. You go for that 3 camp in the bot lane, that leaves your entire top side undefended. And Big Tatas respectively was like, okay, you're gonna go gank my bot side, I'm gonna go into your top jungle, take all your camps and get moving. So it was nice to see. But that blue buff on Wame, that is going to be huge. Put him in lane a whole lot longer. You can see he's still just chilling, getting poked out a little bit there by the dark spheres. He's gonna have to be careful. And oh, Big Tatas is recalling, and I don't think Mini Boots knows.
No, unknown, but you can see the level disparity right now of not getting that second buff. It's very, you know, hey, Super Pog moved to give it to your mid laner, but here in the early game for a champion that wants to get to level 6, wants to have access to that true form, this is going to set them behind because they've got a hot minute. They're going to walk over vision, but they may be able to find something here on Nutty Ryan.
Yep, looking for it here. Mini Ryan, pop the ghost, able to dodge the knock-up. Boots still dash it forward, looking for it. Another not going to be available. The burrow comes through, a lot of damage, not quite enough though. No flash available. The collapse would have to come from Wame, but he still has to TP to lane, so they're going to have to let Nutty Ryan go for now.
The most impressive plays in the game are sometimes just clicking furiously and hoping nobody else shows up. Oh my gosh.
That is
Wame
brutal.
now has the catalyst. Now has the catalyst of Aeons, which is going to do a lot of work here. This is still pre-nerfed, so the amount of healing you get back based off of damage dealt is going through the roof. And as we saw right there, she can put out a lot of damage rather quickly.
Absolutely. So Bard Bagel going for a bit of a trade there. Not too crazy. Just yet. This is top lane. It's going to be rather chill at the moment here. Still looking at Mini Boots, only now hitting level 4. The match is still slightly behind. Big Dot is just looking to rush to that level 6, get that Cyclone up and available. Can look for some more engage opportunities. It's Bard Bagel looking to get some more damage in.
Yeah, made that greedy back, but Nutty Ryan tried to make the greedy back, but Nutty Ryan was able to cancel it at the sake of a little bit of health. You can see he has that call in his pocket, looking to really farm out this lane. Something that was made a little famous by the boss of just saying we're going to treat Sion like a scaling pick that he has kind of become now with that Heartsteel and just kind of get through the laning phase.
Absolutely. So it becomes a huge threat in those side lanes as well, the longer the game goes. Obviously, just gaining health, the minions that die around him, gaining health from that Heartsteel if he looks to build that. It does make you kind of wonder, is that going to be one of the saving graces of Island or Tempest, right? Just send Nutty Ryan into those side lanes, look to just do as much damage to those turrets, forsake your own life if need be, just get us that income.
Yeah, that seems to be like one of the key points here for them, is the fact that Sion's just like, champion's crazy. You can play on a side lane and still run down to the fight with your ultimate and then be able to TP over to another side lane as a flash is blown.
It is. Dada's gonna have to flash and not get hit with the knock up there. To be safe, flash petrifying gaze, doesn't find the stun, but it found the slow, and that's all that's needed. Wame gets ignited, but it doesn't matter. Not enough. Mini Boots picking up that kill. Now 2-0.
Now the jungle mid here, what we thought was going to be something favored towards Study Guide and Big Tatas is turned itself a little bit on its head here as the second kill does get picked up by Mini Boots, who has actually picked up a little bit of a farm lead here. Top side still available for Big Tatas to go ahead and rock out there. But this is the aggression coming out early and reason why NMT Miners is 6-0 right now.
Yeah, definitely so. Looking good so far. Keeping a lot of pressure on them. Our first drag is up, is available. Mini Boots is still topside at the moment, looking to clear that out. And said for Big Tatas here, so it's still going to be a little bit of time before we see these junglers potentially meet and clash for that X-Tech Dragon. For now, we're still clearing towards this top side here. Maybe Mini Boost looks for a gank. We'll walk on top of Vision though, so when he does get spotted out, I'm curious to see how Big Tatas is going to look to react.
You gotta say, Mini Boots doesn't care about the Drake, cares about the kill and getting this Herald. It is the OP thing for the Bel'Veth.
It is. Those Heralds, incredibly important for the passive there as well. Look to back off, get that blue buff. Both of these junglers getting dangerously close to level 6 though. Big Tatas has the Sheen as well. Gonna make those Qs hit ever so harder. Curious to see if they look to roam on down, look to try possibly contest this Herald. You see the pings coming out from Mini Boots. He wants that Herald. He wants it now. With that noon quiver.
Both jugglers have ticked over to level 6.
Oh, yeah. Indeed, they have. Big Todd is walking over Vision, so they're going to know that he's there. Borrowed Bagel. So looking to make sure that Nutty Ryan cannot move down into the river. And Mini Boots actually opted to back off. Curious to see. Surely he's not going to give that one over. As Big Tata's going on up into this lane here. Maybe going to look for something, but I feel Borrowed Bagels is just a bit too tanky at the moment. Still has Call the Forge God available as well. And so just a bit of a dance around this Herald here at the moment.
Yeah, not only that, but here comes the solo bolo.
Oh my god, the damage. The dance has been cut short as Borrowed Bagel just takes out Nutty Ryan there with a quick 1-2. Down he goes, and now that means time to collapse onto Big Todd as he has to run up into the lane. Didn't opt to kite through the bush there. They find the knock-up. Todd is going to use the clone to try and escape. Looking for the knock-up here. Cyclone does get dropped, trying to buy some time, but it doesn't matter. Mini Boots is still going to grab that kill. He gets what he wants. Looking to push that wave so he can collect the coral there and then surely move on down to the Herald.
Surely now the neutral objective will come after killing the top laner as well as the jungler. That will be Nutty Ryan ulting back to the lane. No TP available, but he's got, you know, an extra one there on a small cooldown. And my goodness, has the bottom side of the map just been quiet. Just a small CS lead over to the side of Sushui. Or Soshai? I don't know. We're gonna figure that one out as we go here. But overall, they have just been chilling in lane thus far.
It's Sushi, actually. There we go. Okay. So it's supposed to be Sushi, and now it's not so quiet anymore. Recto, you might have just cast a curse at it. The Wild Growth onto Nightfall. Bust a shot to keep Big Tatas away, but he does not stay away for long. Flash forward to Caffeine Rain, and the final auto attack will seal the deal. Sushi grabbing himself one. Crystal Tor doesn't quite find the knock up there with the Battle Dance, but that's fine. They take those.
They take those, and they take themselves, hopefully the Drake, but Mini Boots has already picked up that Herald and has the chance to move down to the bottom side in the true form. And as you can see, Study Guide still stuck underneath the tower. We'll be able to rotate now, and that could be that sweeping angle with the Scout of the Week to kick off a fight as they are hiding in the fog of war, but will be found. Ooh! Just gonna see if they're gonna opt into this 4v3. Tristana is still a hot moment away.
That's the question here. Mini Boots 3-0 at the moment. Wame has the Petrifying Gaze available. I need those members to look at him if he wants to get the stun from it, though, not just a slow. Top side is just top lane of things, still trading around. See those icons at the Dragon, though. They are still dancing around it. It's the Herald all over again. Both sides looking for that initial pick.
And now the timing is gone for the side of Tempest. They no longer have the man advantage. They were able to scare them off long enough for Nightfall to get back, and so it's going to look like a reset. People are going to start going back to lanes here.
It is. They drop the Herald in that mid lane to apply some pressure there. Wame pushing up that lane here, grabbing some plates. Big Tatas is here as well. They might just say, screw drag. We want the shutdown here. We want the pick. Cyclone comes out, looking for at least a one-on-one, but it's not going to be enough. Study Guide is going to go ahead and still get the kill. The drag, however, will go into the hands of the miners.
And you see how important that miasma is. Helps get more damage down on Study Guide, but just leaves them wide open to Big Tatas to be able to pick up that shutdown here. But 3-0 Mini Boots making their way around the map. Has the Kraken Slayer already in tow. This is a force to be reckoned with. When they go into a lane, somebody dies.
They do. Picking up the Merc treads as well. Want to make sure they cannot be 100-0'd by Study Guide. Has the burrow effect as well, 70% reduction of damage, so gonna be quite the tanky boy, even not building tanky stats. Hopefully I can say the same for Borrowed Bagel though. And with the knockup, Big Tatas is here as well. Borrowed Bagel does do a lot of damage and he tanks quite a bit. Sunfire is just paying dividends right now, forcing the flash out from Big Tatas. Flash forward onto Nutty Ryan, doesn't quite find it, needed one more auto attack. Won't quite get it. Charging up the knockup and is going to get the kill. Nutty Ryan can't quite run him down, so it's just going to look clear this minion wave here. And Borrowed Bagel, man, living on the edge.
Living on the edge, but you have to live on the edge to find greatness. And his second solo kill in the game, if I do recall. It's only been 2, so I think my memory's not that bad. But the Rod of Ages is completed on Mwame. So you've got a timer now, 9 more minutes. So at around the 22, 23 minute mark, it's going to get that extra level. My goodness, Electrocute does a unreasonable amount of damage there. And Syndra is also that scaling threat. Almost made it to that Luden's Tempest. Another champion that once she gets to those 100 stacks and has that Execute, it may not matter how tanky you think you are. You might just go boom.
Dude, might just borrowed Bagel. Looking to continue to establish dominance in this lane here. Trey's coming through. Not good, but overall, it's a bit of a slap fest. Not too much coming out. Next drag. Still 3 minutes away here, so with no real objectives available. Seeing a lot of Roman coming out right now, and I'm surprised right now by just how quiet bot lane it's been. That small little scuffle earlier. Right as I say that, maybe we get to see something here. Big Tatas is on his way down. The control word in the try. I'm curious to see what they look for here. Looking for Mawe here, but this is really close to the turret. Their huge buster shot. Followed up by the battle dance, though. Hunter's Instinct comes in as well, and they have so much damage. The Cyclone buys enough time for him to pick off Vita Mawe.
Yeah, that was a wonderful play there, using the invisibility to be able to close the gap and set up for that Wombo combo, allowing the Killer Instinct to get in. But they lose their mid lane turret in the meanwhile. But can you see the amount of vision that the Islanders have down right now? In this bottom side, it's lit up like a Christmas tree.
It is. And we're able to capitalize on exactly that, going for those plays, knowing that Mini Boots was nowhere in the vicinity. But now, Mini Boots might look for some revenge. Bar Bagel waiting in the wings here. Does have Call the Forge God, but Nutty Ryan able to escape it with his own ult here. Goes unstoppable, so he won't be knocked up. Void Seeker does find Nightfall, but Mini Boots is here, waiting for him to step a bit too far forward. And now it's time to try and take him out. Big Tatas is here as well, but he's pretty damn low. Vidamawe is going to go ahead and pick up the kill onto Crystal Tora there. They take that. Possibly look for more. Going to look to just keep shoving this wave. Back off for now.
I was going to say, I don't think they can make this brute force attempt on the bottom side, but picking up an extra kill, not a bad thing at all. You can see items completed for most of the side of the miners here. Interested in Nutty Ryan. He did opt into that Sunfire Cape first item, but if you really look at the side of the miners, there is a ton of deceptive AP damage from both Ornn, Cassiopeia, and Lulu as well. So I'm not sure if it was the best first item buy, but nonetheless, has that coal complete, so shoved in the pocket to hopefully get to that mythic item.
They are, as Boss coming through. Boss?
Recall animation.
Oh,
there we go. Live
okay.
in living color.
Yeah. Okay. There we go. I think we're back. A quick pause there. It's a little choppy. Nope. All right, we're coming back to just the map here. As we got some technical issues that we are going to need to just fix real quick. Shouldn't take too long, I would hope. Okay, we're back. Back up on the rift here, and Dragon has been started up yet again by the miners here. No real contest. Gets taken. No one there to answer. That's going to be 2 dragons in the hands of the miners. 2 more, and they will have the soul, which is going to be an infernal soul as well. So I'm looking at Monway. He's going to love that.
Yeah, 2 does feel great, you know, having those drakes already in the pocket, and they might be able to contest this. Oh no!
The steal came through. Mini Boots with the flash to escape. The second Cyclone gets dropped, but the petrifying gaze stuns him in place, and they're gonna go ahead and pick up a kill onto Big Tatas here. Study Guide is next on the list. You can send that ult, but Wame just too damn tanky for you. Has that Seraphs as well, and that's gonna be a double kill for the miners here, and they're gonna look to just keep on pushing.
That seems illegal. Mini Boots walked into your house 2v1, slapped you on the face, and took your Herald and was able to walk away and tell the tale.
It did, but looks to me like Mini Boots got a little bit overconfident there. Wanted that turret to fall. Nutty Ryan says no.
That was beautiful. That was literally the vindication that the Islanders needed there. Being able to get that shutdown. Still has the Eye of Herald. And there's a lot of tier 2s that look like they could be up for the taking. There's the tier 1 down on the top side. Nutty Ryan, he's continuing to get bigger. It's going to take a hot second, but if he can get around these fights and just play the blocker, things could play out a little bit differently. You have a 3-0 Kaisa, has that double longsword, so has the evolved Decathian Rain, has ways to get through these fights, but it's going to take a concerted effort of trying to get the 5v5. Meanwhile, the side of the Miners can really play this game out as a 1-3-1 or as a 4-1 along the way.
Well, at least so here. As the tier 1s have fallen all across the map, opening it up ever so slightly for NFT Miners here. Look to set up some new and creative plays, get deeper into the jungle. Crystal Toro was possibly looking for Damawe here. Nightfall waiting in the wings, so is Mini Boots as well. So not going to opt for anything just yet. We'll say, even though they are slightly behind in kills and gold, the vision game coming through from the Island Tempest has been amazing so far.
Hey, if you could do one thing good, that's solid. Well, it's the meme, right? Like, you have to do a really great job at team fighting, vision, communication, objectives, laning, decision making, all that. They got one taken off the list at the very least here. Vision game strong.
So here, Bar Bagel. Feels like I'm watching an assassin Orange just sitting in the bush and waiting for Nutty Ryan to pull up. The ulti is available, so if need be, Nutty Ryan will be able to escape, but it's gonna be a-okay. Borrowed Bagel is just establishing dominance of this top lane, though.
Yeah, you always find Ornn being played a lot differently by a lot of different people, and I think that Borrowed Bagel does think that he is an assassin, as the quickness is going to get used, but not going to find anybody yet.
There we go. Does find 2. Flash forward. Rocket jump to no avail, though. Buster shot away from Sushi. Tried to find the flash there, but doesn't quite get the pick. Borrowed Bagel. Call the Forge God. Looking to turn things around. Doesn't even need to hit it twice. In the bot lane, Maui looking for the pick here onto Study Guide, and will find it. The Seraph's going to keep it safe as well. And the Miners are just running the rift right now, but Nutty Ryan is here looking for the pick. Can only heal so much there from the Conqueror, and so down Monway goes. Big Tata's next up on the list. Borrowed Bagel hitting him with the solo bolo. Says thanks for the gold, I'll be taking that one.
You can see how annoying Fita Moae can be with this Lulu, actually saving Nightfall's life 2 times in that attempted dive, that attempted assassination attempt on the Tristana, and the teamwork just flips around. It's kind of poetic that the lumberjack killed the snake. It's almost like a retelling of Little Red Riding Hood or something like that. I don't know if that's too niche of a reference here.
I'm not that young. Okay, come on, man.
Listen, we were talking about movies earlier, and you these cult classics. You're like, I don't know what you're talking about, man.
You can't bring up from 2000, at least anything past 2010. That's when I'm somewhat self-aware. It's like you're 12 and you become self-aware. That's around me.
This isn't my fault, okay? You gotta educate yourself here. You're like, listen, man, if it's not Zootopia, I don't want to hear about it.
Okay, and meanwhile, Nutty Ryan doesn't want to hear anything about the side of NFT Miners entering the river here. Third drag up and available. NFT can grab that. They will be on Soul Point, and they are steadfast in their will to grab it. Crystal Tora going in deep, looking for something. Doesn't really find too much. Still has the quickness available. Petrifying Gate's gonna find 2 though, and it's huge. The Miners are digging deep, looking for picks here. They found themselves 3 already here, but it's not the most equal fight we would have thought of just yet. Study Guide flash over the wall, gonna stay alive, and so will Nutty Ryan. MT Miners are gonna lose with the Moe as well as Nightfall, but overall they will still come out on top. Grab the dragon, got the man advantage as well, and they're gonna continue to push this mid wave. As for Nutty Ryan, looking for the recall here. Bagel is dashing into her. He does not care. He's so damn whoa, the demolish proc. So much damage. Turret goes down. Hard Bagel just walking off. Cool Guys Zone looking exploding turrets there as Mini Boots and Maui are just going to look to take this Baron here. They're just 2v1 and they don't care. Unstoppable hopping over the wall like, hey, I'm here. I helped. They grab the Baron and everyone's got it.
I gotta figure out, Borrowed Bagel is living on a different plane of existence. He just like refuses to play League of Legends. He's playing League of Bagels right now, and they get themselves a Baron and the tier 2, which means they've only got the outer lanes to really work on, and they get to choose how they kind of split up the map. We've seen Mwame out there in the side lane getting 1v1 kills in isolation. So if they're able to, as they're setting up here on the bottom side of the map, just kind of maybe absorb pressure, use that petrifying gaze as their escape measure, and really just soak pressure, the other side of the team should be able to get something done on these tier 2 and tier 3s.
Absolutely. So the siege continues. Mini Boots got his little mini minions there, as well as little Zerglings looking to push on forward here. Borrowed Bagel been sent up into the top lane to push there. Momway in the bot lane. Nice little 1-3-1 setup going through, and they're gonna use those man advantages here for the side of Island Tempest to go on in deep. Killer Instinct comes through, and things are looking good for Island Tempest. That's a nice play. That's what we need to see.
Decisive and aggression. We love to see it. As you look up there, League of Bagels still going on, getting themselves a tier 2 in the process, and they get a tier 2 on the bottom side here. So NMT may lose the micro boots and mini boots along the way there, but they're able to pick up a lot of standing gold off the map.
Absolutely so here. Big Tata's gonna farm his jungle a bit more. Tier 2s have now officially fallen on all areas of the map. Now the jungle becomes a dangerous place to be. It was already slightly dangerous before. Now it is even more so, as NMT miners can roam around it with ease. Borrowed Bagels is here. He wants the rematch. He wants the solo bolo. Nutty Ryan wants nothing to do with that. He's saying, listen, dog, you can have the farm, man. Whatever, I'm out.
What do you mean a rematch? That would dictate that there was a competition in the first place. Nutty Ryan, hey, God love him. He's got 2 items now here. He's got the Jock Show in his pocket. So he is a full, almost, I guess, a half an item down. No, a full item down now on Borrowed Bagel. And that brittle just means too much here, as it is able to just kind of shred away slowly at Nutty Ryan, and he just cannot compete in that regard. We watched the man take a tier 2 in his face. Yeah. And that means a lot with the side lane. So if Islanders want to way back in this, it's going to have to be the decisive picks like we kind of saw in the mid lane, but just a bit quicker on the trigger.
So here, Study Guide, as well as Sushi. Only 2 members with real kills at the moment, real gold on them, right? 5 and 1 here for Sushi. And we've been seeing them in these fights, popping that Killer Instinct, going in deep, fighting the damage. Just like Study X Guide is, he's still looking to download the PDF here when it comes to how to defeat NMT miners. They found a little something there in that mid lane. We're able to utilize that man advantage. But it's still going to be rough if they look for that 5v5, and they're going to be forced to do that in about 55 seconds, Ragnar, because that's when this next dragon is up. And if NMT miners can claim that for themselves, that will be Infernal Soul, and surely you do not want to give that one over.
I was going to say that the vision game of the miners has been a little weak. They haven't had like their own canary in the mines as a warning detection, but it's just really been Bagels like 50 feet out from the rest of the team that it has been like a real life ward as the miasma goes down here.
Ooh, able to sidestep a whole lot. Mama is just so damn speedy at the moment. Doesn't even have ghosts. Doesn't need boots to be fast. Going in deep though with the Cyclone. They're gonna find themselves Crystal Tora. Unfortunately, they'll lose mini boots. Sushi went in deep, a bit too deep in fact, and down he goes. And now they're free firing on the Nutty Ryan here. Borrowed Bagel picked up 2. Triple kill for Nightfall here. Oh my god, they're beautifully spacing as well, so that Nutty Ryan can't pick up the kill onto Malway there. Big Tata's gonna look for Nightfall here in the 1v1. Buster shot to send them over the wall, and it is just all looking up for NMT miners.
It looked like a good play there from Big Tatas to try to at least get something on the back end, but like Nightfall just dono walls them out. And it's still a minute and a half for the next Baron. So really they just look to try to siege and play around a bit of this pressure, as they're going to have that man advantage, at least for the next 13 seconds until Nutty Ryan's back up here off the recalls with the Infernal Soul. That's going to hurt a bit. Mini Boots is going to just become Boots by the end of this here, as they are sitting on about 2.5 items, working on that Death Stance here. And I couldn't tell you what their passive is at, but I feel like the number is a lot.
Mini Boots about to become Mega Boots, dude. He's been pretty big this game. Borrowed Bagel, 7-0, most kills on his team as well. Absolutely wild to see. Has that upgraded Jock Show. Gave one of the upgrades on over to Mini Boost, and in fact, given another upgrade on over here to Nightfall. Has yet to upgrade Mawei's Rod of Ages. Surprised that wasn't the second one to get upgraded, but regardless, it's been working out for him, and that's the beauty of Orin, man. You could just chill, and doesn't matter how late the game goes, you're still gonna find value as they need to find a way to save Mawei here. Petrifying Gaze does come through, finds 2. Let's see if they can find themselves some more. Borrowed Bagel tanking a whole lot. They are gonna lose yet another member. Nightfall has fallen, but Borrowed Bagel, man, picks up yet another. Looking for Big Tata's next here. Mini Boost leading the charge. The blast cone is there, and so Big Tata's gonna go to safety, and ultimately, it will still be a 2 for 2. And for the fact that they were able to catch out Mawei like that, honestly, kind of worth.
Yeah, no, at the end of the day, 12 out of 10 would do again. But the question is going to become, can anybody get back onto the Rift? Nutty Ryan is in the mid lane, has no ultimate here, but this is being taken on vision. They know what's happening. Oh no, Bagel, stay away from Big Tatas. Leave him be.
Come on, don't do him like this, please. He's following him as deep into the jungle as he can, making sure to space him away from this Baron since it is being done on vision. He knows when he needs to get into the pit, but it doesn't matter, dude. Borrowed Bagels. I mean, my God, this guy he's just the bouncer of the Rift right now, man. He's not letting anyone pass as he goes ahead and finds Big Tatas. He says, welcome to the bakery. I got one for all deals here. Looking to go in deeper. Crystal Tora with the quickness. Does find 2 charms there as they need to hold the line now. The empowered minions are free firing on this turret. Mawei has to go gold. Vita Mawei's gonna drop. So will his brother. Mini Boots finding a lot of damage onto Sushi. Finds the heal as well. Borrowed is just taking up so damn much. He will not die. He's got armor for days. And they're gonna go ahead and back on out. Didn't quite get that tier 3. We're able to pick up Sushi in the process though.
Yeah, why did they back off? Borrowed Bagel, go back in. 1v3. Do it! You're level 17. I want to watch this happen. You can just see from the side of Islanders that they can stand up to the siege. Do they lose people in the process? Yes. Do they keep the structures that they have? Yes. And that's the win for win here, right? We're trying to get that fourth item complete here. Has the Navori Quick Blades as well as that Phantom Dancer. So has the Q and E upgrade in their pocket. Able to go, invisible, super stealth mode here. As long as Sushi can stay alive and not Killer Instinct directly to their death, they have an opportunity to kind of play this out here, because Mini Boots, as much as we want to call them Mega Boots, has not gotten that much stronger. Will get exhausted here.
Yep, exhausted, knocked up, stunned. I can't even count all the other things that were done to him, but I can tell you, Rector, he is dead and gone. They find the pick and are able to take him out. Islanders are not going down without a fight.
See, Mega Boots wouldn't let that happen to them. Mega Boots would have known better. That's why we're still Mini Boots. Hasn't gotten downgraded to Micro Boots yet. We're going to have to see has that death stance in tow. But that's a 30-second death timer. This is where Islanders need to get out there, get this vision down, and not find themselves in no man's land.
Oh my God. This guy doesn't even have boots on, and look at him. He's running down Crystal Tora. You can jump run as much as you want. It doesn't matter. Tries to get in front of Nutty Ryan to cancel ult. Doesn't quite find it, and is rewarded with an extra item. Oh no, actually, I went over to Fita Mawei. Dude, come on, someone's gotta. How are they doing Mawei like that? Come on, give him an upgraded roll, please.
I need to know the lore, the backstory here as to why Mawei is not getting anything.
It must be something that he said. He must have had some doubt. He was like, bro, Bagel, I know you're not going to do too much this game. He took that personally. He was like, okay, no more item for you, I guess. Watch me pop off.
He probably kill stealed. That's probably what it is. Borrowed Bagel should be 10-0.
True. At this point, I kind of wanted to see Borrowed Bagel get like a Titanic Hydra and just start fighting people. Like, just build more AD at this point, but... regardless.
Don't put things in people's ideas. No, he needs a death cap. We want to see the brittle damage just absolutely blow something into smithereens.
Definitely so here. As the Shirella does get popped. Double Tribe comes through, the Cyclone as well. You just don't do any damage to Borrowed Bagel, though, and it is showing. 2 members of the Island Tempest have fallen. 3 members fall as well. Nightfall is getting the free fire on them because Borrowed Bagel just does not take damage. You are basically healing him. A triple kill for Nightfall, making a quadra kill as well. Not quite because the kill still comes through from Wanwei, but it does not matter because that is what we call an ace in the industry, and that's also going to be game 1 going on over to NMT Miners.
And the NMT Miners look like they're making their oil field just a little bit bigger here in game number 1 with what was a tantamount performance from the top side of the map. Borrowed Bagel and Mini Boots, I mean, they were big. That's
does he warrant
tweet.
an orange? Like, does he warrant an orange band at this point? I kind of feel like he does. I mean, that was he made Sion look like a squishy champ, basically. Like,
yeah. So I'm gonna do a quick search here in a second. But what I like, here's the thing. He's on Ornn, and he was 9-0. What happens if you ban the Ornn and he decides he wants to play a carry? Like, does the man have like Nutty Fiora? Like, I don't know, but that's just a scary proposition if your name's Nutty Ryan.
you know what, right? Maybe we leave the Ornn open. Let him. We don't want to unlock his true potential, right? Just let him have the Ornn. It's somewhat, you could somewhat deal with it better than if we see him on like a Fiora, a Jax, or something like that. We'll have to wait and see what Island Tempest decides, because now that they have lost game number 1 to the NFT Miners, that does mean their backs are up against the wall. It's a best of 3 series, so don't you dare count them out yet, because honestly, Rector, they did kind of hold their own to some extent, right? It wasn't a complete stomp coming through like we might have expected looking at the score lines. They took that game incredibly long. They held their own to some extent, but I mean, when you're facing a 9-0 Ornn who you're basically healing him by attacking him, it just feels so unwinnable.
Yeah, it's a really tough spot. And, you know, outside of champ pool issues, not knowing what all of these players actually want to play, I thought that they did pretty well. They do need to look into, like, what do we want to do in the early game? Because it didn't feel like we got much action, mini ganks, or kind of proactive plays, except for around the bottom side that 1 or 2 times. And it looked great. So now if we can, like, multiply that times 2, maybe 1.5, then you find yourself in a much better spot where there is maybe more time spent up top trying to help Borrowed Bagel get ahead. Or maybe it is Mini Boots dying 1 or 2 more times in the early game that kind of slows down this trajectory that they found themselves on. So I think it's still definitely playable, but Islanders got to, you know, pull out maybe just a little bit more. Just move a little bit quicker. We're not on Island time. We're on League time.
All right, well, hopefully they can get into lobby and get these drafts done as quickly as possible so that we can get back on the river for game number 2. So we're going to go into a quick break, and then when we're back, we'll be getting into draft for game number 2. Don't go anywhere. All right, and we're back, everybody. I can't speak. Okay, I'm about to just leave, bro. What
Take
is
us back
this?
to break. We'll try this again.
Just take us back to break so we can start again. No, what's going on, everybody? We're back. We're almost ready to get into the draft for game number 2 of NMT Miners going up against Islander Tempest. Game number 1. Although it took us a while to get there, Regdor, things were looking up for NMT Miners pretty much the whole way through. It just took them a bit longer to really, realize the victory.
Yeah, I think realizing the victory and then playing to their composition strengths. Like, they weren't a sieging team. They couldn't just stand there and beat down on the turrets. I mean, even, Borrowed Bagel in all of his glory is not allowed to walk up to the turret and just beat on it 1v5. So it took him getting him out into open space to actually find that decisive in. And really interested to see what the Miners can do to have a bit of a cleaner closeout to a game if they're able to find themselves in that same position.
Indeed. It is a best of 3, so obviously NMT Miners still need to pick up one more win if they want to secure themselves the series here, stay undefeated, go 7-0 in the regular season. But if game 1 was any indication, Islander Tempest is not going to give up without a fight. They held the line incredibly long in game number 1, but it just felt like the game kind of snowballed out of control. So we're going to have to see if they can pick up the pieces and make things happen in game number 2. Now already, I wouldn't say surprised, but it's just interesting to note, Regdor, that the sides have stayed the same. Islander Tempest still staying on that red side.
Yeah, that seems to be the case. Maybe liking that counter pick a little bit more than anything else. But they're already off to a pretty strong start. And that Seraphine in the mid lane is going to be something that I'm gonna do a little question mark ping on for right now. Here in Oriana, actually the mid lane as total. Oriana, she's a champion. She's not like bad, but she's not good. By any means. Yeah, a champion of all time, Mr. Producer got it just right nail on the head. But at least has some ball delivery system in the sense of the Kayn able to get in there, utilize that shockwave a good bit. But same thing for Seraphine. Seraphine's fine in the mid lane, champion of all time, much more OP on the bottom side of the map. We'll have to see what Study Guide has in mind.
Yeah. No mini boots on the Belveth this time around, as it was the initial ban that came out. Didn't ban the oh my god, tonight's not my night. They did not ban the Ornn. That was still up and available, but Borrowed Bagel, man, he heard us. And then post game number 1, when we were talking about what else can we see from him, he said, I'm gonna do a complete 180. I'm picking up the GP and I'm gonna look to just run circles around these kids.
Yeah, we're gonna have to see. So I did some quick looking in to Borrowed Bagel. Has already cranked out 282 ranked games this year. That's a lot for those of you who are maybe confused. But so far only has a 42% win rate on Gangplank. It is his most played out of the champions that I can see here. So not having the best of times, but there's always the chance for the funny haha one-shot combination here on Sushi, on Crystal Tora. So it'll be interesting playing into this Cho'Gath.
Definitely so. The bot lanes, though, coming out from both sides. Fairly new this time around. NFT Miners are still keeping Tristana, but they're swapping it over for the Leona this time around. On the flip side, Islander Tempest going for that true tried and trusted Jinx as well as Lulu combo. That hyper scaling late time. As soon as you get excited, things are not looking good for the enemy T combination.
Yeah, and Lulu was the B1, so it was the pick away with the Miners going towards that Gangplank on the first pick. And Jinx is in an interesting spot. She just got buffs on 13.5, that base attack speed, to help kind of compensate for what is the Mythic IE sort of meta right now for the bottom lane. So it does help her a bit just on those tier 2 boots with those items to make this hyperscaler kind of get into action earlier on. But if there's ever a lane that, if I ever see a Leona in solo queue, because I consider myself a Tristana player, if we're not all inning level 2, what are we doing? Like, go home. Just play your pacifist run, because that's all I want to see is just red is dead, all in, Zenith Blade, full send it, and really abuse this bottom lane. So I want to see it from the Miners.
Yeah, if you're not going in level 2, just step away from the keyboard. Go out to your garden because you're clearly just a farmer. Like, it is what it is, bro. Like, you got to be sending it. You got to be going all in. Regardless, though, the Kayn, something we don't see as often, it feels, in the jungle. And when I'm looking at the members here that he's going up against, I would have to assume it's most likely going to be that red forward Kayn. We do tend to see that, 9 times out of 10. It's just the amount of sustain and utility that comes out from it is so huge. But it's going to take a minute to get there because Cho'Gath and J4 are the only 2 members you can actually farm that red essence from.
See, here's the thing, is you're thinking mini boots. You're thinking micro boots. I'm thinking mega, gargantuan, monolithic boots here. And that's why I think they're going to go the blue Kayn route and say, damned be the Cho'Gath, damned be the J4. I just want to go fast, go in, and absolutely murder one of these carries, and the game's over. If their damage is dead, what is Cho'Gath and J4 going to do? CC me to death? Haha, that's funny. So I want to see the monolithic boots come alive here and really get that early aggression going on, especially in the mid lane, because Seraphine has one choice, and that is to flash. That's it. Here in the mid lane, because if she doesn't, she dies. If she flashes, well, now you have that roughly like 4-minute 15, 4-minute 30, assuming she takes Cosmic, to go back and re-gank her. And again, the Orianna ball delivery system, we love to see it here, and that can do a lot for the miners early on.
Definitely so. And I mean, we'd be amiss to not talk about the Immortal Bagel himself in that top lane. All right, a complete 180 as to what we saw in game number 1, right? No longer on the Orin, on the GP. While those solo queue stats may not be as promising, if he could play with the same prowess as we saw in game number 1, only on a champ that's actually designed to do damage, somehow he made it work on the Orin, but this time on the GP, it's gonna get brutal. It's gonna get nasty in that top lane.
No, absolutely. Something that I actually would love to see, I'm not sure if it's appropriate for this matchup, but I'm just going to make the guess and say that it is actually the level 1 GP play, where you just stand in the farthest bush and run them down as they go to the lane and get that trial by fire on, and just absolutely try to manhandle Nutty Ryan on the top side of the map early. Because otherwise, when you start looking at it, the J4 plus Cho'Gath can abuse Gangplank early on, because you can not cleanse a knockup. You can just stand there and bleed. So has a chance of just being put on the sort of weak side and forced to just scaling.
Absolutely. So I think lastly, before we get into game, we can take a look at the mid laners as well. The Orianna to Seraphine, 2 of these very sort of utility focused mid lanes coming through, but no time to talk about it. No more time to speculate, Rector. We're on the Rift. Game 2 is getting underway. Island Tempest, they need to pick up this game and the next if they want to pick themselves up a win, and it's already looking good for them because they found Mini Boots. They found him and turned him into Micro Boots. First blood already going into the hands of Sushi.
That's not very monolithic of you. And it looks as though it did go on to the right spot. I'm sorry, I can't read numbers for a second there, and that's exactly where you want to start. But Nutty Ryan, not in the right spot. Borrowed Bagel's there. He wants it. He will not get it, though. He's been denied the cream cheese to his bagel on this one.
Fortunately so here. Always stepping a bit far forward. Got to be careful. We'll spot out Big Tatas, though, dropping the ward down as well at the Raptors. So it's going to make it a whole lot easier to track because usually when we see that J4, you do have to be careful. Those level 2, level 3 ganks can come through. It's always nice to see an aggressive Jarvan in the early game.
No, absolutely. And having that extra longsword going into the lane for Sushi is such a big deal. There is a range advantage here in the early game with those rockets here that they can really beat up on the Leona. It does have the aftershock, but has to CC them to activate it. So if you just beat the crap out of her level 1, she's not allowed to go in level 2. Otherwise, she dies. We'll have to see, because it does look like there was a bit of a difference in XP because Sushi did walk up there to help out with the leash. I don't believe they're going to get level 2 at the same time as the other side.
Interesting to see how they look to play around that moment. Waves pushing into the turret there could make it tricky to find level 2 all in if they look to get level 2 off of it. But for now, still biding their time. Mini Boots went for that full clear in this bot side, and once again, Might look for that level 3 on the bot side here. And I mean, you did call it, even though that that level 1 was looking more like a micro boots moment. The build itself, right? I'm seeing that Dark Harvest, and that screams to me behemothing, right? Absolutely enormous boots coming through with the blue form game, possibly. And understandably so, a lot of squishy targets on the side of Island Tempest, but it is going to take some time to get there.
Yeah, the biggest of boots is what we want to see here. Is now Mawe needs to make their way out of there. Has access to the flash.
Ooh, flag and drag, not quite going to find him. Mawe not even in need to flash to get away from that one. We'll still have it available as they look to run down Study Guide. We'll have to flash over the wall. Dark Harvest secured as well for mini boots. And so ultimately, no one's quite going to go down. But that is going to be flash burned from Big Tata's, flash burned from Study Guide, and only one flash burned from the side of NFT Miners from mini boots.
2 is bigger than 1, and that is the start here, as Study Guide is not going to have access to that flash. Going to have to TP back to lane more than likely. Actually, the wave's pushing away. Not bad at all. And that's where they're going to have to play around here, as they will pick up the tier. That Seraphs could be the difference between life and death, as Barbagel is going to do GP things.
Yeah, he is indeed looking for it. Finds the knock up, though. Ryan flashing just to be safe. Wants to make sure that no stray barrels, no stray bullets catch him out. But Barbagel once again establishing dominance in this top lane.
And this is what we have come to know, as the TP is going to be utilized. Would love to see Big Tata stick around. Doesn't have the most health in the world, but burn that flash on the GP when you get a chance.
Yeah, and there we go. Is going to go ahead and be burned here. Big Tata's with the gank. Not going to find the kill, but regardless, it's going to be flash burnt. Most likely TP as well to get back to lane. Make sure that wave stays in optimal condition.
There's a big wave here, and they're going in.
Yeah, they are indeed. The Chompers did find Feeder Mao there. Finds the zap on him as well. The minions just kind of block it. Sushi can't get close enough to keep on firing. But regardless, keeping this Leona at low HP is crucial if you don't want to be all in and absolutely decimated.
Yeah, Nightfall did the Star Wars meme where it's just like, I can't follow you where you're going, and just, left Fita Mawe there to pay for their sins of going in with a giant wave.
They did. This time around, it feels that mid lane is going to be that quiet. In game 1, it was more that bot lane that was fairly quiet. This time around, these 2 mid laners are just going to look to farm it up, hit that level 6, throw one around, make things happen for their team. First drag up and available. Mini Boots is in bot side, and so is Big Tata. So I'm curious to see if they look possibly start it up.
Mini Boots needs to gank. They need to get that form. They do not want to be waiting around for it, and the only way to do it is to hit enemy champions. And you have access in both the mid lane as well as the bottom lane for that blue form with the Dark Harvest to do so, and not a whole lot of vision there either. So with these waves pushing in, with Sushi having the ability to just kind of shove here, it looks like would be a good opportunity. The Big Tata is maybe a little bit ahead on the play.
Polymorph does get dropped, but it's not quick enough to find the extra knock up there, and so Nightfall is going to be able to rocket jump away from that one. Meanwhile, in this mid lane, Micro Boots is here. The charm be damned. Maui going to pick up the kill. Mini Boots going to pick up some blue essence, and everyone, except for Study Guide, is happy.
Everybody except for the person who just died is actually living their dreams right now. Vita Maui going to be able to get this control ward out of the way, and this could be the look for the miners to go ahead and pick up this first Drake, although it may look like, hey, maybe we'll want to repeat gank mid. Who knows?
Possibly so. Study Guide. Want to TP there to get back to lane. Want to miss any farm, any XP. Obviously, Maui still has that shockwave available. The Twitch chat was promising me great things from that shockwave, so I'm curious to see what we get. But for now, just gonna keep on trading. Nothing too crazy going on just yet. Top lane been surprisingly quiet. Nutty Ryan holding his own with the Cho'Gath, is level 6, has the feast available. Goes Borrow Bagel, who now has influence on the map globally. Rector has that cannon barrage ready to go.
And that's the best feeling in the world as a Senna player, or as a... Ooh, that was a good flash. But anybody with a global ultimate loves picking up free kills and free gold. along the way, so probably look to utilize that there. Is going more than likely the Essence Reaver into the Navori Quick Blades route here, so it's got some time just getting these Sheen procs in early, trying to farm up that first strike gold, because this is going to be a big piece of being able to play around bushes with the Kane and with Bar Bagel on this GP.
Oh, awkward. Not quite gonna find anything there. Big Tato's going over the wall, but round 2 of Ganks will not find anything. Huge shockwave does come through, and Mini Boots is there to collect. Nicely done. Mini Boots will pick up that kill, grab some extra blue essence for himself. Gonna head back to jungle to just keep farming it up.
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure why it's the Lulu that keeps on getting exhausted. But nonetheless, it is once again utilized. But Big Tata is just chain ganking left and right.
Indeed, this time around he said, screw it. Their time will not be the charm. I'm looking for Mitamawe. Not gonna quite find it though. Cannon barrage, a lot of low HP bars, and the bomb's gonna blow up. They will go 1 for 1. Sushi will pick up yet another kill. Double flash coming out. Big Tata's gonna do his damnedest to hold the line, make sure that Sushi doesn't get picked. Super Mega Death Rocket did a lot of damage. Big Tata still needs to find a little bit more damage. Has flash available, but it's not even needed. Hits him with the pike. Says bye-bye. Thanks for the free gold.
Big Tata is using the extendo Q to pick up that kill. And Sushi almost got taken down by that cannon barrage, but is still 2-0. Will get that wave in. I do not think that it would be the best idea, but they may be looking for this Drake. Yeah, they're going to start it up.
Yeah, Vision is still on it. That control ward is sitting in there, so they are doing it on Vision. Mini Boots still needs to make his way on over. Isn't quite there yet, so the drag should be confirmed. Yeah, drag is going to go down. Going to the hands of Islander Tempest, and already looking a lot better than game number 1 here. Bit of damage. Maui stepping pretty far forward, though. Has to be careful. Beat drop not going to find him. Finding a whole lot of damage onto Crystal Tora. And with no one to help him, he just gets blown to bits. Peter Maui going to pick up that kill.
Now, Sushui has a late recall there under that tier 1. You can see where the wave is. That means they're going to be able to cash in on some tower plating. Tristana does not do deceptive amount of damage. She does a boatload, I almost used the wrong words here, of damage on these towers. They're just not, Twitch appropriate here, as they are going to pick up at least 1 tower plate along the way and be able to shove this next wave in and just keep the pressure on this scaling bot lane of the Islanders.
Eat it. So here now Big Tatas might be looking for a gank. They'll step on the Vision there, so shouldn't find anything. Saw the Super Mega Death Rocket coming out from Sushi as well. A bit of a follow-up, but nothing to be done there. So instead, Big Tata is going to head on, take a little peek into the jungle of Mini Boots here. Both junglers definitely eyeing that Rift Herald, looking to start it up.
And Nutty Ryan's been doing a really great job thus far of, I almost said just not dying, but his Big Tatas might be finding themselves.
Yep, nice little exhaust comes through. Excuse me, no exhaust. Encore gets dropped, and Big Tatas is there to seal the deal. Actually, the ball still came through and took out Study Guide, so actually he's going to go 1 for 1.
Yeah, that is a bit of a soccer diff here, in North America. We're not the best footballers, but able to find one every once in a while, and that should mean that Islanders uncontested here on this Rift Herald, but this should be the signal that Mini Boots needs to become the macro boots and make the play on this bottom side.
Does here. As the Herald is going to get picked up by Islander Tempest in the hands of Nutty Ryan. Can hold on to that. Mini Boots in this bot lane. That doesn't quite find the Zenith Blade there, so no engage on the table just yet.
I was really hoping the Mini Boots, macro boots thing would have been super cool, but sadly, it doesn't turn out. But they're going to get their vision score up by taking out another ward, just keeping it all dark down here on the bottom side. And we could be setting up for a dive, as Mawe is coming the long way.
Really so here, but looking like he's there. Find the ult, find the damage as well, going in deep, and it is just so damn clean. Vitamawe not even gonna go down to the turret, just a sliver of HP remaining. Study Guide is here. Oh, just doesn't quite find it. The shield comes through from Mawe, trying to protect his brother, but it's not gonna be enough. Vitamawe still gets dropped by Study Guide.
The enhanced auto attack, that's all we needed. Sitting there on that lost chapter. Needs to get to the Leandri's Torment to really feel great. Is level 9 though, so has a ton of wave clear. But they still are not feeling good enough about themselves to walk back into that tower. It will go down.
Indeed. Cannon doing a bit too much damage there. Nightfall gonna grab first a turret with that, grabbing all the plates. Definitely feeling good right about now. Gonna allow him to be slightly ahead of Sushi. Still same in kills. A bit of a farm advantage for Nightfall, but now with those platings, definitely, yeah, Kraken Slayer right away picked up.
Yeah, and one step closer. Has a longsword in their pocket, maybe looking just to pick up BT second, the Bloodthirster, just to have that more effective health with the Ichor Shield. Has been a debated but similarly good choice here on the Tristana. The biggest thing here is, if you're an Islanders fan, is they're in a weird spot. Because unlike Orianna, Seraphine doesn't do great in side lane. Isn't able to be out there unprotected. Doesn't have really a meaningful speed boost like the Orianna does with the little sombrero movement. So they're going to have to give up a lot of pressure in side lane here around this Drake showing up. As you can see, Recall already coming through by Study Guide. Has the TP available though, but only still to towers for just another 15 seconds.
Yep. Next drag up in 35. NFT. Definitely want to grab that one. It being a mountain Drake as well. Extra resistances are always welcome. See the pivots already coming through here. The Boots making his way on up. Demawe doing his best to gain some vision for the rest of their team. We've seen this in game 1, right? The Islanders' vision is always incredibly strong here. They always have vision. They're just not always able to execute. But so far, they're doing a much better job in this game than in game number 1, so they just gotta keep it up here. Not falling too far behind. Only 3k gold lead here for NMT Miners, and that is primarily, I'd have to assume, just that initial turret getting dropped.
And now they're going to give up the tier 1. They're committing everything to this Drake from the side of the Islanders. Mini Boots has the vision on it. They are going to go ahead and maybe contest this, as they're looking for towers in mid and top at the same time.
They might just look for the steal here. Oh my god, they get it. Mini Boots has transformed to Mega Boots in my eyes. The Earl will trespass through the wall, picks it up with a smite, says thanks for the leash, gets on out of there.
And Nutty Ryan had the Chomp available, the Feast was available, the Smite was available, but somehow Mega Boots is just better.
He is. Looking for something in this mid lane here, but Nightfall, per usual, able to just rocket jump his way on out of that. And now that definitely minimizes the threat of this dragon stack, and that was initially coming through here from Islanders. If they had those 2 dragons, it'd have made it a lot more prevalent to have to fight for these dragons, but now they are still equalized. Mini Boots jungle here, maybe gonna look for something. Just gonna look to steal away some more camps. Things are gonna be somewhat more quiet now.
Yeah, you can see the effects of the chain ganking from Big Tatas is that they have fallen behind in terms of that, and you can see, oh
my god, Mini Boots absolutely shredding Study Guide. Down he goes. Has that blue form unlocked. On that top lane, just things still going down here. But now the lanes have shifted. The bot lane is in this mid lane now, and this tier 1 is next up on the menu for Nightfall. He got a taste of what it's like to get rich off of that bot tier 1, and he wants to do the same thing. But Big Tatas is here once again, and so the target will be Fitamawe there. Uses the flash, Cataclysm comes down, and now he has no way to get out, but with his Zenith Blade, he might just be able to. He's running for his life. He's pretty damn tanky. Looking good. Oh, with a super mega death rocket will be the last tool in the arsenal needed to take him down.
Fitamawe was doing a great job until they weren't there. But once again, it is the rotation from Nutty Ryan, adding extra pressure to this play. The last time they lost their tier 1 tower because of it. This time takes a little bit of pressure off of Borrowed Bagel to get the recall. Gonna have to see what's cooking as they are waiting. Yeah, they just full bot and avoid quick blades after taking that tower. And we're entering the scary gangplank time. Much quieter game from Borrowed Bagel. The bakery is like still warming up. They're kneading out the dough here as they are just 0, 0, and 1.
They are. They're getting ready for opening day, man, you know. Got a lot of potential customers here the side of Tempest's Malway. This bush probably wasn't
this is where you wanna
expecting
be.
Nutty Ryan. I don't know if it is indeed. Trespass getting a bit of damage too, but Nutty Ryan a bit tankier than they expected. Cannon Barrage getting dropped as well. Big Tatas is here, but huge shockwave. Okay. And the Twitch chat warned me. I didn't believe them, and I'm looking stupid right now. Charm does go through. He's the Prowler's Claw, but it's not going to be enough quite yet. Flash coming out from Malway. Beat the Malway here as well. Then he's a Solar Flare. Oh, the ball doing a lot of damage. And we're just going back out, back and back out. And now Nightfall is looking potentially for Crystal, but doesn't quite find him. And now he's the one that has to back out. Sushi's here. Flash doesn't quite find the Zap, doesn't find the Chompers either. So now they're just dancing around each other once again. Backed out, going back in. They find the slow onto Nightfall, but I'm gonna have to let him go.
Echo, I don't mean to, you know, ever criticize players. I'm huge fans of them every day. That was not like a fake. I was told faker levels of Orianna. That was not faker levels of Orianna. I just want to make it clear here. Is now they're in the box.
Indeed, they are. No one there to assist, but Maui is tanky enough that not enough damage is gonna come through. And Big Tops with the shield, but it doesn't matter. The smite comes through from Mini Boots. Secured, baby.
Okay, that was a bit closer to faker levels. But Nutty Ryan with the nutty jump.
Did a shockwave though to get him off of his back. Doesn't find the knock up there, and now we're in the mid lane once again. Big slow coming through. Solar Flare to make sure there's no follow up. No Solar Flare. No Stay Blade available. Not gonna look for it. Just gonna look to hold this mid turret.
And they should be able to hold up pretty well. No way for them to play off of. But both ADCs here opting for their Zeal item second. Either they know something I don't, or we haven't read the patch notes just yet here. They are going to be losing out on a bit of power with the Phantom Dancer second item. But nonetheless, both scaling threats. Sushi going to have a bit more of that range. Would love to see him opted into the Runaan's with what is a sort of triple melee plus short range-ish with Mawe on the Orianna. Could get a lot off of those multiple rockets, but we're going to have to see.
Listen, Nightfall doesn't need that sustain if you can just blow him up right off the bat. Just kill him real quick. Same can't quite be said for Borrowed Barrel. Borrowed Bagel there. Huge damage coming through. He's been biding his time, and we're seeing it pay dividends. Absolutely annihilates Crystal Tora here, but now he's got to escape. Meanwhile, Mini Boots on top of Sushi taking him out. And Borrowed Bagel is holding his own as well. And are those pings on Baron, Regdor?
Those are pings on Baron, because you got one thing wrong here, is we no longer have a Mini Boots in the game. It's only Mega Boots, and if he can make this play happen, maybe he can ascend to Gargantuan Boots.
He's going to try to, indeed. Baron is getting shredded down, and it's not even going to be an objective trade because they're not expecting it. Baron goes down into the hands of NMT, and that drag is still up and looking healthy.
Yeah, you can see some movement down that way already here. They get to have their cake and eat it too, but that's what happens when Borrowed Bagel as well as Gargantuan Boots are able to find those kills up there in the top side and jungle here. Just allows them to just feast on the entire rift.
They will. Second trap. Oh, Jinx Rocket getting blocked by Nightfall there. Huge buster shot to keep Big Tata away, but it doesn't matter. He says this dragon's mine, and this might be the turnaround that they're looking for. They pick up 2 kills. That's a nice shutdown. The feast comes out on Nutty Ryan as well, and the Islanders are not giving up without a fight.
No, they find themselves a steal in return. Thanks for the leash is what he heard, and so he had to give one back in kind. And I mean, the bakery might be closing shop just for a little bit. Might be their lunch break, as it now seems like it's the Islanders.
Cease your doubt, Regdor. Cease your doubt, because Mame is here. A huge shockwave, cannon barrage, and it's a quadra kill for Borrowed Bagel. Open that bakery back up. We got 1-for-1 specials all across the board here.
I doubted them, and my doubts have been silenced so quickly. I didn't even see that coming there. My goodness, that shockwave was gargantuan.
It's a buy one, get 4 bagels free, Regdor. They grab 2 turrets as well. They're looking for that tier 3, dropping the Rift Herald, and they are just increasing their income by so much. We've been sitting on around a 3K gold lead for most of the game. It has ballooned into an easy 10K. At tier 3, not quite gonna fall, but it is not looking healthy.
No, it is not looking healthy at all. And off of what we thought was a amazing play from the side of the Islanders, Miners are just able to turn it on its head with 2 buttons pressed. They were both R's, by the way, and just completely obliterate the side of the Islanders, wipe them off of the map like the big, earthquake that's supposed to be coming to California.
Chuckles nervously. Yeah,
I'm in danger.
I mean, we talked about it, right? That borrowed bagel. He just been biding his time, right? He was keeping his head low, getting his money up, just farming those turrets. Not any real kills that were notable until we saw that initial damage onto Crystal Tora, and we got to see it right there. Single shockwave, followed up by a cannon barrage and a couple of clicks here and there from borrowed bagel, and that's an easy quadra kill. Now they're looking to do the same to Study Guide. Does drop the charm, so that is going to buy him the space that he needs. Looking for some more damage onto Mini Boots, but does have to be careful. Super Mega Death Rocket actually finds the mark, but it's not going to do the damage needed. Big Tata's onto Huawei. Seraphims does get popped. Going to keep him alive. Cannon Barrage gets dropped. They're investing everything that they've got, and they are going to get a return on it, as Huawei is going to go down.
Able to find the pick there, but you've got a bit of a mismatch on the bottom side here. Lineman being basically guarded by a wide receiver. It's not going to turn out well as borrowed bagel flash away there by Sushi on the minimap. It's going to take that tier 3, or at least do some damage to it.
Taking it down to around half HP. 2 more minutes until the next drag spawns. 2 more minutes until the Baron spawns as well. So NMT has plenty of time to continue to shove these waves, continue to mount that pressure.
They are buying themselves a lot here, but Dragon's really slow because of the 2 steals. Neither side has like an actual look at Soul. The game's more than likely going to be decided before then. But both, I think the big break point is going to be this third item, this Infinity Edge that we're waiting to see from both of these ADCs. It's going to change the game around if Sushi's able to get excited and stay safe, or if Tristana or Nightfall is able to find those resets, as Nutty Ryan has a lot of health to choose from.
Yeah, a lot of health, a lot of armor as well, right? Has the Jock Show, has the Sunfire, has the plated steel caps, has the chain vest, has the 2 cloth armors. I can keep going, Ragnar, but we'd be here for quite a while, and we saw it paying dividends against Mini Boots here, who is going that assassin route, but just cannot find the damage.
Yeah, Gargantuan Boots here trying to do some damage, but with this lethality, great job at blowing up the small, the not the weak, but the low health of 3 of the members of the side of the Islanders. And Bard Bagel is able to shred through a lot of armor with those caskets if he's able to set them up. Not caskets, the barrels. They put people in caskets here, as you can just see. Nutty Ryan's not taking a ton of damage from this Orianna.
Yeah, Mini Boots, he's not going for the weak, he's going for the armor starved, those with not as many stats under their belts here. The next drag up in 10 seconds. Both the teams know they're gonna have to fight it. Study Guide grabbing that tier 1 up in the top lane, has that TP available, so if needed, get down to the fight rather quickly. But NMT will have the first move and are gonna start this dragon on up. McTata's on his way. Bust a shot to keep them away, buy themselves a little bit of time. They have Smite and they have Feast, but they gotta get it done now. And it gets stolen once again by Sushi. But can they live to tell the tale? Big Tatas is gonna fall. Borrowed Bagel finds yet another. Nutty Ryan is deep. The Feast comes through, so he'll get something in return. But it's just too little too late. Nutty Ryan, last man standing, is looking for Nightfall. Will find that, but will go down. The question is, was the steal worth it, Regdor?
That'll be the question of whether or not they can end here. They've got about 20 seconds until Big Tatas is up. Crystal Tor in about 15, and they've got a wave to play on here as they take down the first tier 3. And my goodness, how much has the monolithic Boots done here with that Umbral Trespass, able to miss out on so much damage and get the important kills.
Shredding down that first Nexus turret. shredding down the second Nexus turret as well. Huge damage coming through. They grab both turrets, and they're just going to not even leave. They're going to keep on going. They see their opportunities. Huge barrels. It's borrowed bagel time, baby. 2 more members down. Huge Faker Shockwave comes through, and with that, NMT are styling on them. Nutty Ryan, last man standing, but it doesn't matter. He's too slow, and the Nexus goes down, and NMT grab the series and stay undefeated.
Undefeated, the bakery's open, the boots are, I don't know, we had to Google the word for bigger than monolithic again. We did it before, but nonetheless, that was just insane back and forth game, but Miners are able to close it out when it was important.
Here, I got one. Behemithic. Colossal or enormous size and power. I think we'll call him Behemithic Boots. He deserves that title after that game, even though get some dragons stolen away from him, but you know, he still performed when it mattered. That's what really gets. Dragons don't need that. Kills, yes. Towers, yes. Damage, yes. That's what we need.
12 out of 10, that is the case. They move up to 7-0 with a commanding performance, and come playoffs, they're going to be a rather crazy team just on the top side alone, just for the fact that Borrowed Bagel is getting as many kills on GP as he is on Ornn. That is a scary predicament to be in because there's so many different looks they can have. And with Nightfall as well as Afito Mawe down there on the bottom side, really able to play in isolation and waste so much of J4's time in the mid game. It just put him in a position where sadly your jungler doesn't get to play the game for the next 10 minutes until they find their Krugs on respawn and be able to get through that jungle item.
Yeah, and Mawe as well, right? Super cool to see that it was a bit of a shift, right? Game number 1, more on a carry-oriented mid laner. Game number 2, more a utility-oriented mid laner. Still able to pop off. Was still looking great, setting up plays for the rest of his team. Do I even have to mention that mid lane double ulti coming through, right? That was absolutely huge. And so this team is looking dangerous. I fear for any team that has to face these guys moving forward, especially into the playoffs when we see the best of the best collide.
No, absolutely. Cannot wait to see more from the Miners here as they continue to just play like Mining Tycoon and just move their expansions westward.
Yeah. I'm starting to think that maybe Borrowed Bagel's GP, like maybe I think he's been sabotaging the win rate intentionally. So because we looked at it, we were like, okay, 42%, you know, it's not the best, not the worst. And he just said, yo, watch me. It just blew everyone up like a quick quadra kill, just a quick 1-2. So I'm curious to see. I hope we get to see it more moving forward. But that is going to be it from us here at the NECC. That is the last match for tonight. Ragdor, thank you so much for joining me per usual. Thank you all for watching. The chat is going crazy today once again. The NFT fans, man, they got let loose into the chat. I'm not even gonna lie. I was gonna say unhinged, but that's not even.
No, they're unhinged. Absolutely.
They're unhinged. I was gonna say it, but they are indeed. Thank you so much for watching. We hope you guys enjoyed it, and we can't wait to see you guys next week.